ICO Battle. 6 gaming ICOs will battle it out on stage in front of a fierce panel of judges. Meet the judges. Dave Pulis, ZBX, Matthew Sherry, KPMG, Oron Barber, CoinPoint, Damien Schwerer, Credence, James Catania, IntelliBlock, Johan Zammit, Smart Studios, Giuseppe Calabro, Thrive Labs. And now, please give a warm welcome to the ICOs. Max Zmitrovic, Secure Crypto Payments, Natalia Lianka, Sabi Global, Rene Pomasl, Salamantex, Wesley Elul, Quizando, Anton Sivadet, My Crypto Bank, Yevgeny Burgess, SP8DE, moderated by Eric Benz, CryptoPay.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow, some awesome speakers thus far, and great to be at another event here in Malta. We have done such an awesome job to really create such a good environment, joined by some awesome thought leaders, judges, speakers, and just wanted to start by saying thank you very much to SiGMA for putting on such an amazing show so far. Let's give it up for SiGMA, please. Thank you. A lot of people, maybe you don't know me, maybe you do, maybe you don't want to know me, maybe you do. But at the end of the day, I've been in this space now for about 6 years. I've started numerous businesses, I've worked in many different projects, and I can definitely say that we've been through we've been through a lot over the years. I'm looking at some familiar faces, obviously, from when I used to do more speaking in the gaming side of things, in the payment sphere, and looking at Oron here. You know, we were sitting on a panel in 2013, and literally with maybe 10, 12 people in the audience, talking about Bitcoin, talking about a future, you know. At the end of the day, to see kind of where the market has come to and where the maturity has come as well, I'm excited to be a part of this ecosystem. It comes with its challenges, just like any other industry, but at the end of the day, those challenges are more rewarding in this space by far, considering the opportunity and considering the technology that's upon us. We're going to see some very, very exciting things to come. We have just been scratching the tip of the iceberg, in my opinion, and I've seen a lot. I've seen a hell of a lot. And to be frank with you, it's the size of an amoeba still. And that amoeba will grow into a flea and then so on and so forth. And you'll have a very, very large industry, much larger than you think it is now. So I'm very excited to be joined by some awesome judges. I will be introducing the companies that are going to be coming on stage very shortly. And in the meantime, I just wanted to give another shout out to Malta, because after years and years of searching for the right jurisdiction and setting up companies left, right, and center, Malta has been one of the most friendly and most nimble jurisdictions to be able to say, you know what, we're going to put our money where our mouth is, and we're going to actually invest in actually providing a platform for these businesses to scale and actually become a part of this financial economy. So without the support of countries like this, we can't do what we do, and these companies can't do what they do. So let's give it up for Malta, please. Yeah? Thank you. All right, we're going to start now with the first ICO. This is a battle. This is about time. This is about sticking to that time. So I will be very strict in terms of going over the limit. Let's introduce the first ICO, My Crypto Bank.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you all, guys. So we would like to start. So as you know, crypto community does not have a stable access for bank services, and the My Crypto Bank will change this situation. Actually, we create the online bank which will operate with both currency, fiat, and crypto as well. You know, our ecosystem is based at the EOS blockchain and MCB tokens. We will provide services like online banking, multi-currency exchange, money transfer, loans, deposit, ATM machine, crypto ATM, consulting, forex trader, acquiring, and bank cards. So why do you need the MCB tokens? You can pay the bank fees inside the system. You can earn on the growth of the price of the token. You can make the deposit with the higher percent, and you can get a loan. You can use the increased leverage than you use a forex trader. So what we already have, what we already done. Our company registered in Estonia, and we have 2 licenses for working with cryptocurrency, exchange crypto to fiat, and operating with crypto wallets. That is why we already launched our own crypto exchange. We prepare a forex trading terminal for our customers. We developed the crypto ATM machine, where you can buy and sell crypto for cash or for cards. For example, we have about 5,000 payment terminals in Russia. Now they are operating only with fiat. And we have strong partners, you know, like Gazprom or Lukoil. So we launched our MVP online bank account. There you can see how it will done. You can open account. You can order your debit or credit cards. A few weeks ago, we took an award like a Best ICO project in St. Petersburg in Forum Blockchain Live 2018. Here, as you can see, only one part of our international team. We have guys from the United States, from the European, from the Asia. Everybody have a large experience in different area. So, and here is the contact of the co-founders. If you will have any questions, you can contact us personally. Thank you for your time.
Great, thank you very much. My Crypto Bank. We have time for some questions, judges. Who wants to go first?
So the presentation was nice. Congrats. With regards to user base, how do you plan to go out and grow your user base and go aggressive on the marketing side?
Yeah, thank you for your question. First of all, we are not the first crypto bank. There are a lot of projects, but at this moment, nobody not obtained the bank license. We are planning to do it in the next year, and I think we will be the first, and the crypto community will know about us, and it helps us to grow rapidly.
You said you had a network of ATMs installed already, or are going to be installed, and how are you going to leverage those 5,000 ATMs?
It is one part of our business. It is not ATM at this moment. It is the payment terminals. They are operating only with fiat now, and you can pay your bills. You can earn money. Sorry.
Are they already existing ATMs, or this is a project for the future?
They already existing. Payment terminals already existing in Russia, but they now operating only with fiat because crypto it is prohibited in Russia now.
Where will the license, what license will the jurisdiction cover, where it will be issued for the bank?
Now we compare the 3 jurisdictions for the obtain the bank license. It is, of course, it is in Malta, it is the Cayman Islands, and it is the Philippines.
All right. Any other questions, judges? Okay, My Crypto Bank, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next, can I get on stage Savvy Global?
Thank you. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to present to you SiGMA Global project, SiGMA Global ICO, new technology biometric identification authentication system. What is it, SiGMA Global? It is contactless adaptive biometric identification authentication system based on electromagnetic profile reflected of the human body. It's impossible to fake. that Sabi has a module which scans your body and give access to your devices. Then the modules send out electromagnetic waves. To mesh of those waves, create the reflected waves profile. The profile gets stored in the blockchain. Why blockchain is stored the profiles of electromagnetic of the human body? Because it's anonymity, because it's security, and have reliable ledger. Sabi Global Core Team is over the 10 years in the biometric, in the biotechnology. Oh, sorry. Yes, I forgot. In the biotechnology scientists. That Sabi doing an ICO because to finish the model prototype, and to find partners in the different industries market. That Sabi platform is Ethereum, is ERC-223. It's Sabi token named Sabi Global. Total number of tokens, 1 billion. Okay, you can see it. Soft cap is $4 million, hard cap is $80 million, and price is $0.02. That Sabi, it is our future. Safety first. Thank you very much.
Great. All right. Thank you. Time for questions, judges.
Yeah. Hi. I would like to ask, what is exactly the problem that your token is solving?
Can you say a little bit more slowly?
What's the token doing?
Utility tokens.
Yeah, but what's the problem you're solving? What's the problem?
Yes, tokens. You can pay technology, yes, because technology is online and offline. Sabi out and Sabi storage. You can buy 30% of technology with those tokens. Which tokens not be used or bought will be burned.
Yeah, can you explain a bit more about the technology itself and how do you will you go about it?
Yes, technology. It is that we do not we. Yes, our core team do from 3 parts. Technology have online and offline product. It's Sabi out. It's technology like a chip incorporated in device, in car, in smart houses, in crypto wallets, in exchanges, in mobile technologies, and medicine sector, wherever can be used biometric identification. Yes, and when, for example, it's incorporate like chip in the device, when I come that it's unblocked, that you don't need to use your fingerprints, voice recognition, or face recognition. It does electromagnetic profile reflected of the human body, and when you come, it's disblocked.
So it's electromagnetic.
Yes, electromagnetic profile. It's not just electromagnetic, it's a cardiovascular system, it's DNK, it's your nervous system. It's new technology.
Thank you very much. All right.
Thank you. Good luck.
Sabi Global, thank you. Next, can we get on the stage Salamantix?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Sabine Roes, CEO Assistant, and I'm here to introduce to you Salamantix and the Cherry Network. 2 years ago, we started to research reasons why shops are not accepting cryptocurrencies. Some issues were volatility risk, coin exchange, accounting. And because we wanted to build a whole crypto payment infrastructure, we developed a software which serves all merchants' needs. The merchant just needs to type in the fiat amount he wants to charge, for example, here 1,500 euro. Then he's choosing the cryptocurrency he wants to pay with, here like a dash. Then the exchange rate will get generated, and the new wallet address for each individual transaction will be open. The client just needs to scan the QR code and the payment is completed. It is easy to use. The client can choose either he wants to keep the cryptocurrency or he wants to get it exchanged into fiat money. It is easy to integrate in any online shop, cash register system, or you can use it on our devices, where we realized a lot of shops want to use the devices, especially in Europe. And now the Cherry network came into, because we have realized that there is no coin fast enough when it comes to mass adoption. So we have developed a whole new crypto network based on DHE technology. It is specialized for B2B and B2C function. A payment is done in 2 seconds. Advanced payment functions like recurring payments, messaging payments are also good benefits. We are partnered with a bank with EU full banking license to be fully regulated in Europe, as we are already working like a financial institution. We found a way to recover, to restore private keys, decentralized but safe. And the Cherry will be listed as main payment coin on our devices with advanced functions like atomic swap. We have sold over 1,000 devices so far, and we are in negotiating with about 200 more for the next month. Some other main benefits are it is sustainable, so you don't need a lot of high energy costs. Every wallet on the phone can be a miner. It is fast, it's easy to use, and community-driven, so the community can vote for functions they want to be added. Some of our partners are here, for example, Dash. We have been also together with them on a summit last week. Legal partners, exchange partners, our banking partners, and this is our team. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, judges, your turn. Dave?
Hi, thank you for the presentation. This is a business model that we do understand a bit as an exchange because we've been approached. And we do work with some of them back in Asia, which are pretty big. And some basic questions. With regards to the retail side, for the B2B, how much do you intend to sell it to the stores, or are you giving it for free?
No, the software, the shops doesn't need to buy the device. He can only get the software and get a contract with us. But the devices, of course, we sell to the shops. They can also rent it bi-monthly, but yes.
Do you have a price for it?
It's €575. But we have smaller ones, especially for Asia. We are working there as well. We have just sold about 1,000 devices to Malaysia, so we're working there as well. And in Asia, we get cheaper devices because they don't want to have such big ones. So we have smaller ones that are also cheaper.
And just comparing it to people who are working with, this is mostly a marketing device, the POS itself. Do you enable payments without, like on mobile, so like Alipay and stuff that is being done on the Asian side?
We want to have an all-in-one solution. So we are also in contact with credit card payment providers to offer also like an all-in-one solution, and also they want to work with us to get their crypto payments on board, as well as we are like in contact with different payment providers, and we have a lot of plans, yeah.
Do you currently charge a fee?
Yes.
What's your fee?
Between 1% and 2%.
Okay.
It depends on the volume. If it's a high volume, we can go even lower, of course.
Do you discriminate between different continents? Because what the Asians are willing to pay is, for example, much less than what we're used to paying.
It depends on the country in Asia.
All right.
China, always.
All right.
It generally depends. We're looking on the market locally in each country.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right. Good stuff. Salamantex. All right, let's keep this moving. Another ICO, Secure Crypto Payments. Come on stage.
Hi guys, judges, good afternoon. Glad to be here, glad to present Secure Crypto Payments. Some people still don't believe that I'm here. Let me take this quick selfie just to confirm that I'm actually doing something useful today. And some people do listen to me, huh? And like this, yeah. Right, okay. So, Secure Crypto Payments, what it's all about. There is a problem right now in the market, we know it, that if you're buying something online, come on, raise your hands who bought something online in the past 10 days, including judges. Bought something online? Something for Christmas? Yeah? Everyone used it, right. So when you're in your basket and you're choosing method of payment for your goods or services, standardly in 300 traditional payment systems, you've got like a button saying, pay by your credit or debit card, pay your PayPal. And very rarely you can see pay by crypto. And that's what we want to do. We want to introduce this third button in most of the market, which will allow to accept crypto payments for the goods or services you guys are buying online every day. And it's not that difficult because the merchants who haven't got a clue about the cryptos, they'll still receive the fiats on their bank account, and we'll do all the hard work on the background earning our money, right? Because this project is proven that it works. It's all known that it works. That's how bankers and payment processing systems earning their money for many years now. And all what it will take is just to place the third button. And we know that we can do it because our team has already created a number of projects similar to that. We already done a payment processing system for, let's say, Nike in Europe, and Adidas, and for Mercedes-Benz. So people who are behind this project, they know precisely what they're doing, and that is why we believe that our solution would work extremely well for the market, and that's what we're doing. We're now collecting a little bit more money to generate additional liquidity for the services we are providing, and it's already working model. We already have got customers. We already have even customers on a waiting list, and we are ready to launch as soon as we'll have enough money to make it work. That's it.
All right, thank you very much. Judges, your turn.
Since you're dealing with crypto and fiat, it's a bit of a hot topic at the moment. What sort of licensing or regulatory elements are you looking at?
Amazing question. I actually expected something like this because I was asked today in the conference 27 times, something like that. The situation is that the market is actually improving, and more banks are willing to work with people accepting cryptos and processing cryptos. And right now, we are applying for an FCA license in the UK, and we already have small institution payments license in Europe, in Slovakia.
I would like to ask you about the marketing side of the business, and because you need to go into education and educate the merchant to use your service, so how big and how much focus do you put on education inside your marketing strategy?
Amazing. Yes, that's right. That is actually what keeps us different, keeps us apart from other payment processing systems, because there are competition to us and there are competitors to us, but it's the marketing. That's where we're extremely strong at. And our team right now is in talk with 17 providers of 17 e-shops, which are selling goods in total over £1 billion a year just in the UK. So that's one of the major shops, and they said, guys, as soon as your solution is ready, as soon as you're ready to service us, we'll place your button in our basket.
Awesome.
I'm gonna ask about the technology side, if you don't mind.
We're out of time.
We're out of time.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. Great stuff.
Talk to me after the. Talk to me after this. Find me.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Can we please get Spade on the stage? Spade, come on down.
What's up, man? Hello, everyone. We're the only ICO here that already passed, actually, the whole ICO process. And we are the only that we are in the blockchain field, in the iGaming field. So what is Spade? Spade is the blockchain PRNG company that tokenizes the RNG itself. That means you're a casino. What is at the heart of your operations? Is the RNG, right? Everything is around this RNG thing. So, but is it only iGaming, right? It's not. It's games, video games, anything like from science to anything. Anything you want, you need a fucking RNG. Sorry for the fuck, but. So we passed 2017. We started end of the year, and up to 2018 we finished the ICO. We created the RNG on Ethereum and main blockchains. Cardano is almost done. We registered transactions on the EOS chain with CryptoKitties. We created a raffle in US and saved actually cats with CryptoKitties. So we raised money by, somebody could win a cat, right? This CryptoKitty cat. So, and we donated that money. That was our MVP. This is how we tested our RNG. That is entirely secure, is true, everything. We are across 3 countries, formed team, 5 nationalities, and so on. Spade Wallet, that's the main component of our platform that is going to come in the future. Spade Wallet is a crypto, fiat, collectibles, and raffles within the wallets. You can create a raffle if you want, based on our RNG. You can transact crypto to fiat to buy collectibles and so on. Games that are coming right now out within a week is Dragoshi, Kill the Dragon, okay? Dice Gala, before the end of the year, is with AI, with a chatbot. Everything based on our RNG. Next step will be entirely on EOS. So we're going to create a side chain which is going to scale our RNG, right? So our RNG is blockchain agnostic, which is off-chain and scalable, right? It can be off-chain and on the blockchain itself. Quick video game is in development, which is something like a Candy Crush, this social game, something like that, yeah. And that's the future. Winx.com. That's our platform.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Thank you, Evgeny.
Yeah.
Judges, go ahead.
On the blockchain, you're actually using the blockchain as the seed to create the random numbers, or are you just holding the numbers that the RNG spews out on the blockchain?
So we
and if
do
so, what are you using for the seed?
All of the things. We have different packages that you like, whatever you need. You want to generate it off-chain but record the transactions on the blockchain, that's one package. You want to have it entirely, the whole RNG process on the chain.
What seed are you using?
Sorry?
The seed. What kind of seed are you using for
that's a very technical question. I'm the visionary. But the idea is that the protocol...
Is this a truly 100%, truly non-deterministic RNG?
It's a pseudo number, yes, it is.
The core of your product, I mean, all right, you're not...
The core of the product is a protocol. You can input your RNG whatever you want, but we record and everything around it. We secure the truth, right? So that it's not manipulated in any way.
So you have an existing RNG, and whatever it spews out, you record on the blockchain.
Exactly.
Any other questions, judges?
Again, there was a wallet mentioned there, and there was fiat as well mentioned. So what sort of licensing?
We are not operating yet, so licenses are about to come. But we are looking at solutions to providers that will take the license part on themselves. So it's like a partnership where fiat is processed with a licensed partner.
How much market research did you do? Do you know who your competitors are and what's the market
competitors? Like? There's a lot of competitors. But we see them as partners, actually, because our goal is to bring in iGaming dApps on the platform of any provider.
Thank you, Evgeny. Great. Thank you, Spade.
Thank you very much. Beautiful conference.
All right, all right, all right. Last but not least, can I get on the stage Quizando?
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to SiGMA. I think it's been a great day, and I'd like to introduce you to Quizando, which, funnily enough, is the only ICO here which is actually a game. Back in 2016, some partners of mine and myself, we wanted to get into the gaming space, and we wanted to try to find a niche that wasn't exploited. And one of the things we actually found was there was a large number of people in the world who wanted to win money, but they wanted to win it by skill and not pure chance. And this is where Quizando came about. Quizando was the world's first quiz platform where you can pay to play and win cash back. It was taking the pub quiz from the pub up into the online space. We started this 2016, and we started growing a player base. Our player base was growing at a very drastic rate, and we actually saw that we needed to scale. And when looking at scaling, we found a more interesting opportunity. Well, as you know, since the beginning of the internet, people have been sharing opinions, likes, dislikes the whole way through. And we found that there's lots of influencers there who have created audiences. These audiences are of 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. These guys are making a lot of money. But what about the smaller influencer in the world, smaller content creator in the world with 10, 50, or 100,000 subscribers, 100,000 followers? Well, these guys aren't making too much money. They might be getting an energy drink or a protein bar or maybe a hotel stay. And this is where we saw we have a little bit of a thing. Quizando Live. Quizando Live essentially allows any content creator or influencer to become their own live game show host. From the comfort of their bedroom, their boat, or wherever they might be in the world, they can video stream a live quiz. They don't create the quiz questions, but they can host the quiz themselves to their audience on a pay-to-play mechanism. That allows them to become content creators and actually make money for their content, and not for adverts, not for affiliates, but actually for engaging with them. This actual platform is very easy to use. The idea is in a couple of seconds, you can actually choose your quiz, which you're going to do. They start hosting it live with their players and audience, and all of a sudden, they're making money where they could never make money before. Now, the numbers are quite interesting. According to Facebook's data, there's 500 to 600 million quiz players around the world. If you take a look at YouTube's figures, there's over 465,000 channels with over 10,000 plus subscribers. Now, according to our data from our 2 years of experience, each player, the average player, plays about $100 a year, which could actually mean that we could be seeing a $60 billion market. In fact, today, Quizando is played in over 50 countries, and we currently have 12,000 players. As you know, quizzes are a community of people playing together and having fun. And that's why we created QuizCoin, which is the coin that we will be using within our platform. The idea is the player deposits X amount of token into our system. That gets held within a game. That game then, once the game winner is actually chosen, that will again get distributed to the winners, and the influencer will get their cut right away.
Judges, do we have any questions?
I would like to ask the following questions, because skill games are very nice, mostly into acquisition channels. And my question is, where is the money?
The money is coming straight from the actual players. We actually already have 12,000 live players playing us, paying money to play these quizzes.
So you're basically taking a rake from any round?
Yes, that's it.
So where is the big money?
Sorry?
So my question is, I will modify my question, where is the big money?
Where's the big money? Well, in 500 million players playing 100 euros each, that does the math itself. So we take a 30% cut out of that.
In your strategy, you have any plans to integrate money-making games like third-party providers with other games?
Say that again?
Like third-party providers with other games into your platform?
No, we're actually creating other games ourselves. We have a series of other games which we're going to be creating, social games where, again, they pay to be in the platform. We also have different verticals we're working on. We're working with communities as well as advertisers, so they can actually get market research back from their players.
Thanks.
No problem.
Maybe one question?
Yeah.
I read your white paper.
Okay.
Twice.
Okay.
And I like the project. And the thing is, right now you're, well, I'm not sure if you're profitable, but you're making money.
Yeah.
So if you get an injection in your project, where would this money go? How would this go into more marketing or like your
the money's going
grand
into
scheme of things?
Three places. One is going into our scale up because the actual platform we built was a sort of MVP. It was built on a LAMP stack, and we're moving to a Node.js and Angular stack on AWS. So that's one place where the money's going. We're actually only a month and a half away from our closed beta of that being open, 2 months away from the actual live beta. Secondly, on marketing. Thirdly, on regulation, so that this ICO can then be regulated within the Maltese market and then do a proper large ICO following that.
Perfect.
Fantastic. All right. Good stuff, Quasano.
Cheers.
And let's give a round of applause to all the ICOs that presented. So now the judges are going to deliberate, make their marks, get their scores in place. Unfortunately, there's a lot of colluding going on because we can't put these results on the blockchain, right? I mean, do we actually have a system that will allow us to not use a pen and a paper? No? I mean, this would have been a perfect opportunity to do so, no?
Create an ICO.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that was some great stuff. Fantastic projects. Obviously, being involved in the payment side of things in the crypto space myself, I see a lot of opportunity for many of these projects to succeed. But at the end of the day, it takes the will and the guts to be able to put yourself out there and build a company. And it's not easy. So, and it's not easy to get up on stage and present to all of you. So, you know, very, very nice to be a part of. And, you know, I've seen a few different ICO battles in my day to date. And this is definitely very organized and very professional. So thank you for that. Judges, are we ready to deliberate already? Yeah, we came to some decisions? Okay. How long do you need, Dennis? Okay, all right, we're doing the counting. Doing the counting, fantastic. Judges, do you want to take a moment to introduce yourselves, if that's okay, while we're doing the marks? Really get some face time with you guys.
Sure, we'll start from here. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Johan Zamit. I'm the founder and CEO of Smart Studios. At Smart Studios, we enable organizations to design, develop, and take blockchain projects to the market.
I'm James Catania, CEO of IntelliBlock. Our company is split up into two parts, the advisory firm and Teros Limited, which is our own white label STO, ICO, and ETO, fully regulated platform for over 220 jurisdictions. We are right now in beta for version 2, which should be coming out in the next couple of weeks. So we're quite busy right now.
Hi, I'm Damien, representing Credence. We are in the process of becoming a VFAA agent. We're advisors, legal firms, and turnaround strategists in the digital sphere.
Hi, my name is Oron. I'm from CoinPoint, which is a marketing and education agency. We have operation in Manila, Philippines, and in Sofia, in Bulgaria. We are in the space, like Eric mentioned, since 2013, when it was a tough market, and now it's even tougher. We are big believers in education, so all this project that we saw and everything that is going in the conference, the focus is to educate the market about blockchain and about the solutions.
Hi, I am Matthew from KPMG. We're providing a lot of different services in this space, from regulatory, of course, to even tech, which is where I'm coming from. I'm part of the software development department that we have there, which is currently 20 men strong and counting. And we're focusing on AI, IoT, RPAs, and also blockchain.
to all. I'm Giuseppe Calabro from Tribe Labs. We are just developing and decentralized the marketplace for advertising, both sides, advertiser and publisher marketplace based on blockchain. And we are one of the first ICO here in Malta that we ran it at the beginning of 2019. We closed it in March, and now we are part of this game in Malta. I'm so happy.
Hi, I'm Dave from ZBX. ZBX is basically the operations of ZB.com, which is around the fourth, fifth largest exchange in the world. The only difference is that we're doing fully regulated operations out of Malta. And we're also very interested in the iGaming business. Having been around these guys for so long, I'm not an iGaming guy myself, but I know Eric, Emma, the organizer is my brother, so I've been around the industry. So what we're doing for the iGaming world is we're going to be listing the top gaming tokens on our platform to make effectively the world's first gaming token marketplace. We're taking an active role and investing in a very good project. We just put or invested this week a large amount in a gaming token that we're going to support. The news will come out by the company itself. And we really want to develop the industry because no crypto exchange or large crypto exchange has been looking at the industry, which I'm pretty surprised that they're not, because it's a very fruitful and profitable industry to be in. So I'm happy what's about to come. So keep watching the news in the next couple of weeks.
Good stuff. Thank you so much, judges. And do we have the results tallied and ready? 1 minute. Oh, great. I'll give a little bit about myself. Obviously, you know, I was introduced as the MD of CryptoPay. A fantastic project. If there are any operators in the room, please go and find Tom Bloor at the stand and talk to him about integrations and access. We're doing lots in the gaming space. Very excited with that project. And obviously, I've been in the financial services space for over the past 10 years in creative, high-risk services. So really working early on with exchanges and crypto payment companies seeking banking and corporate structures is something that I specialized in for many years, and continue to look at very interesting, efficient means in which the on-ramps and off-ramps for this growing ecosystem can be established. And it's really those companies that are going to be providing those on-ramps and off-ramps that are going to be the companies to watch, whether it be wallets or exchanges or any means to get cash into this growing economy, and which is hence the utility aspect of the token itself. So, you know, as we all say, watch this space. There's more to come. Everybody's a bit depressed in crypto at the moment. You know, waking up every morning and checking the price, and you realize that, you know, you've lost 100, 200,000 from the day before. So it's been a bit of a ride for the past 4 months. But if you've been shorting like I have, then you shouldn't have a problem, you know. I'm just joking. All right, good stuff. Let's do this. All right, results are in. Drum roll, drum roll. Cool. It is my great pleasure to announce the winner of the SiGMA ICO Battle 2018, Quizando!
Thank you very much, dude. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Eric. Oh, cheers. Thank you to all the judges for your thoughts on this project. We've been working hard, and we hope that this project will take ICOs to a level from Malta, because being a Maltese-based company, I think it can do something good for our industry, good for the whole blockchain market, and actually show Malta can do something on the map in the ICO world. So thank you to all of you, and thanks. Cheers, SiGMA.
Congratulations, Quizando. And thank you, everybody. Thank you, judges. Thank you, SiGMA. Thank you, MFCC. Thank you, Malta.
Affiliate commissions in the crypto vertical. Uncover the challenges ahead and the differences between CFD and crypto exchanges. Amedeo Moscato, DX Exchange.
It's working? Fine. Hi, how are you? Welcome. My name is Amedeo Moscato, CEO of DX Exchange. DX Exchange is a EU-regulated exchange and powered by Nasdaq matching engine technology. Very happy to be here. Today we are going to discuss a very important argument. We are going to talk about affiliate commissions in the crypto vertical. There are affiliates in the crypto vertical, and we want to clarify how it works better. And I would like to start asking if there are any affiliate here working right now in the crypto vertical or not. If there are, if you can say to us if you are working in the crypto vertical or not. I see few over there. OK, so we are going to uncover the challenges ahead and the differences between CFDs and a crypto exchange. So let's start. And then let's start to discuss about a main important difference between a CFD brokers and a cryptocurrency exchanges. So what are CFD brokers? We are talking about contract for difference, and they offer both traders and investors to profit from price movement, in fact, without owning the asset, owning, for example, the Bitcoin. With the cryptocurrency exchange, traders, in fact, own the Bitcoin, and they can withdraw to their wallet the Bitcoin. And mostly, they come because they want to invest, and they want to keep the Bitcoin for the long term. In the last year, we saw a very big growth about the crypto industry, and saw brokers that were only offering CFDs about different industry, they started to offer CFDs also about crypto and Bitcoin. So there are affiliates that today are working and promoting CFDs, and they are earning very high CPA. We are talking about $600, $700, $800. But there are a lot of challenges because of new changes that are in place and came in the last year. For example, as you can see here, there is an overloaded market, and there is a very high SEO competition. And the media buy is very expensive. It's almost not impossible today to buy traffic. Regulation changes and impact on user acquisition and retention. Of course, most of the brokers are lowering the CPA because the regulation is putting in place some limitation for them to make more money. And there is the challenge in building a campaign based on real use cases. What we have seen in the last few years is an abuse of the advertisement because, unfortunately, most of the campaigns about CFDs were about make money. So they are selling a dream, how to become millionaire, and they are generating a lot of traders where the quality is very poor. Brokers started to stop it. Facebook and Google started to ban this kind of campaigns. So here we come with the crypto exchange. So here, we are here to build a stable and a long-term business with our affiliates. So what's happening with promoting crypto through an exchange? The conversion rate is much more higher than promoting crypto through CFDs. With CFDs, you have between 1% and 3% conversion. So assume you bring 100 sign-ups, you can bring 1 trader, 2 traders, if you're lucky, 3. With crypto exchange, as soon as you bring a sign-up, you can bring even 50% from sign-up and more to first deposit, to a guy who is going to deposit, to buy the Bitcoin, to buy the Ethereum, to keep it for the long term. So the high conversion rate, investors are looking to buy and hold real digital assets, and this is an investment against day trading, and most important, high investor lifetime value. So long-term passive income via revenue share is the main key for affiliates in this industry. Basically, the difference is that you can bring much more traders. Usually, exchange pay between $30 and $50 CPA, which compared with CFD, where you can get 500, 600, 700, it seems to be low, but it's not, because if for every 100 sign-up you can bring 50, 60% conversion, in the long term, you are going to make more money. Some exchange can pay even a revenue share. In our case, for example, we pay up to 50% revenue share and $50 for every new depositor. How to leverage your existing business to promote crypto exchange. This is very important because we are here to understand how we can make money from the crypto exchange. First of all, as we previously said, last year there was a big growth in the crypto industry. I don't know if you are aware of these numbers, but I'm going to tell you, exchanges were completely overloaded with more than 100, 150,000 new customers a day. They had to even block the sign-up because they were not able to do KYC and to onboard all of these clients. So imagine now, the market is a bit slow, but everyone is talking about another bull run for the Bitcoin and for the cryptos. So what is going to happen again? 100,000, 150,000, 200,000 new customers a day, potential customers that are out there for affiliates to catch. How to catch them? SEO, of course, and I believe that for the gaming industry can be very strong to start now working with crypto exchange and using crypto exchange in their website because they can be prepared for the new growth. So I consider it an additional revenue stream. Like a long time ago, affiliates were promoting mostly casino. Then they started to add poker. Then they started to add bingo. So for them was an additional revenue stream. The same can be with crypto because most of the casino out there, they are now accepting Bitcoin. So when you have a website and you can list a section about play casino with Bitcoin or play poker with Bitcoin, you will have a lot of traffic that is coming to your website and they will want to use the Bitcoin to play. So you can extend your existing SEO with new keywords and content related to Bitcoin and crypto. And you can do, I'm not endorsing it, but you can do aggressive affiliate tactics like if you really want Black Hat, for example, or you know, if you want to go old style, you do proper, clean, white hat SEO. And you can add a widget in your website to buy and sell crypto. This is very important. And we do it, for example, through Coins Exchange, which is a business of DX Exchange, where people can come to a website and buy cryptocurrency with fiat using credit card and converting into Bitcoin. If you are an affiliate, you have a website, you are talking about Bitcoin Casino, you can add our widget. The player comes to the website, he doesn't have Bitcoin, he wants to buy Bitcoin to play at the casino where he has the Bitcoin. He can do it easily and can really improve his business. So basically, you can buy cryptocurrency with fiat, sell cryptocurrency for fiat, credited directly to your credit card, and buy and sell through a very quick implementation of our widget. So if you understood well, the industry of the cryptocurrency is growing very strong lately. And I think that for affiliates in 2018 will be very important to start building activities around it, because it's a matter of time. I mean, we are in this industry. We believe about that. It's a matter of time that the crypto industry and the Bitcoins, the Ethereums, and all major, I would say, projects will take over. So if you want to start, now it's like the poker, you know, a long time ago. The first that started with casino are the first that, you know, benefit about that. I've completed my presentation. If you have a question, I will be very happy to hear. We have around 45 seconds. Will be a very fast one. If you have it, if you don't have it, I'm very happy to be here with you. And again, if you have a question, we have a booth. You can ask me. We can help you build, your niche in the crypto industry and add a revenue stream in your website and your gaming business. Thank you very much. Have a nice one.
Tightening regulations for ICOs. The rules governing ICOs are catching up with this fast-paced industry. Joseph Borge, WH Partners.
So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Tough topic, because actually, for those of us who are crypto and blockchain enthusiasts, who would like that in an ideal world, ICOs should not be regulated. Exchanges should not be regulated. We should be using the centralized ledger technology itself to self-regulate our industry. But, unfortunately, let's face it, in its core, blockchain is the anti-regulation par excellence. It is the perfect mechanism for self-regulation. Bitcoin itself was created to replace the establishment, that is governments, banks, and regulators. However, currently, we do not live in an ideal world. Actually, we live in quite the opposite. We live in a world where we have over-regulation. We have over-regulation, and over-regulation can be seen particularly with the 4th and 5th AML directive, with GDPR. But these are cycles. These are cycles that we always go through in the business sector. So there's a moment when there is a lot of over-regulation. There will be a moment where there will be some deregulation. In the meantime, however, we cannot just wait until the regulation comes our way. We can't even go rogue and go into some remote jurisdictions, because ultimately things will come back to bite us. So the best way to actually get on with it is by taking blockchain into the mainstream. And in order to do that, we need to convince everyone that blockchain can replace trust issues that are currently addressed by heavy regulation and oversight. However, to do that, we need to find compromise. We need to compromise ourselves with the current situation. We can't just say, no, this is how it has to be done, and this is how we'll do it. No, we have to find a way how we can use blockchain itself to create the trust with regulators, with the establishment, that, look, this is not an evil tool. This is a tool that can be very advantageous for the economy, very advantageous to us all. So, over the last 2 years, regulators, policymakers, and financial services providers have become increasingly interested in the blockchain space, and in particular, the cryptocurrencies and the offerings and exchange thereof. We did not make it easy for regulators to look at ICOs in a positive way, unfortunately. The scams, dodgy offerings, hacks, mismanagement in certain cases has clearly brightened the floodlit, it's turned the industry into something that regulators and the establishment is looking at the industry in a negative way, unfortunately. So we have the SEC coming down quite strongly on ICOs. We have seen some settlements last week, but that's I guess it's more to come, the US SEC. We are seeing ESMA, the European Securities and Market Authority, that is coming up also itself with some reports, and from the indications we're having, it seems that they are not going to be pretty. So there is no escaping regulation. So the only way we can sort this out is by trying to convince them to make sensible regulation. I believe it is no secret that we all feel that although the MFSA did a great job, that although the Maltese government did a great job, we all were expecting a lighter touch regulatory framework in Malta. So all the hype that was created around our jurisdiction, we all were hoping that the regulatory framework would be less restrictive than it is. However, in the current situation, we actually should hope that similar frameworks will be adopted in Europe, as probably this is the best we could hope for. The indications are that many authorities around Europe, eventually, under the also the push from ESMA, are going to get tougher and tougher on ICOs and exchanges. So we should forget about short-term gains, and we should look at the bigger picture and the longer-term outlook. And Malta, by doing so, has tried to set up a framework that allows coins and tokens to be issued under a strict regulatory framework, but without the need of registering them as securities. A process which would be much longer and possibly also much costlier. The same could be said for the Malta Gaming Authority, with the guidelines allowing licensees to make use of cryptocurrencies, to actually accept cryptocurrencies as a form of payment, and the use of decentralized ledger technology. Some restrictions did not go down well with the industry, of course. However, it is a very good start that gives peace of mind to the operator. So unlike in other jurisdictions where no one tells you whether you can accept cryptocurrencies or otherwise, but they put the onus on you to actually make sure that whatever you're doing, you may have to make sure that you're doing it in a legal way. In Malta, we have a framework that tells you how to actually accept cryptocurrencies in order to be sure that you're doing it in a legal way. And I favor that approach. I'd rather sleep at night making less money rather than not sleeping at night and making more, but then potentially risking it all. So in terms of DLT, luckily enough, the authority was quite open-minded. And the use of DLT technology was much less restricted. So as a blockchain and crypto enthusiast, this is my appeal. Let us start and make the most out of these regulatory frameworks. Let us help the authorities appreciate the benefits of blockchain and cryptocurrencies. Let us show them that this industry is professional enough to earn their trust. It is our opportunity to take blockchain to the next level. Let us not mess it up. Thank you.
ICO, IPO, STO. All you need to know. The crypto and blockchain space is riddled with acronyms and buzzwords. increasing the knowledge gap between those actively involved and the rest of society. This discussion seeks to close or at least narrow that gap. Jimmy Zhao, ZBX, Jean-Michel Azzopardi, Kralanx, Lawrence Wolf, Shellpay, David Vaz, Infinite Group, moderated by Monty Munford, Forbes.
Hello, how are you going? Can you hear us okay? Okay, so we're going to get through what you need to know about acronyms, about everything in the space. Got 4 gentlemen, very diverse panel as ever. We've got different skill sets, different experience. So we're going to go and start with you, sir, at the end. Just to tell us who you are, and then we're going to go into the discussion one by one.
Okay, my name is Jimmy. I'm running a crypto exchange here in Malta called ZBX. We recently launched it, and I've been in the crypto space since early 2017, and I've seen the rise and down of the crypto market, so I guess I have a lot to share today.
Thank you. Jean-Michel.
So my name is Jean. I am CEO of Kralanx Cybersecurity. We are a cybersecurity and distribution company, and we're focused on delivering hardcore services to the local and international markets, and with a lot of space and with a lot of focus on the crypto space, given the amount of crypto stolen pretty much every day, actually.
Absolutely. Lawrence.
Hi, my name is Lawrence. I lead marketing for a tech company based out of Shanghai. We're essentially building a end-to-end economy off the back of the SkyLedger, SkyCoin technology. And we pitched last at the BC Summit, actually anti-ICO pitch. So we're actually anti-ICO.
Oh, good.
For the record.
Brandon, who I met with McAfee a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, so Jane was the first investor in the SkyCoin technology.
Is she here at the conference?
She is here.
Oh, hello, Jane, wherever you are.
She's, I'll have to make personal introductions later.
Okay. And finally, but not least, David.
Thank you. David Voss with Infinite Invest Group. We're Managing Director and CEO of GeoPerks International Holdings. We've been in the ICO blockchain space for several years. Was fortunate to be part of a company that raised $200 million in 45 days. And we're here to kind of give some feedback on what happened in the blockchain world and how we're merging our digital currency into one world. No politics, no religions, no governments, and create a digital currency to help grow this community.
So you're a huge decentralized fan?
Yes.
Is there anything wrong with decentralization, do you think?
Well, it's a very broad question. Yes, it is definitely a challenge trying to decentralize existing financial markets. And the infrastructure in fintech is going to, bring that disruption. And we're seeing it as we're witnessing the markets right now, which is quite exciting.
Yeah, okay. And the volatility at the moment, you think this is temporary, or?
Yes, I do.
Spring is coming.
I think the markets are adjusting to a lot of correction. It's all about investor confidence at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I saw a graph about 2 weeks ago, and it was Amazon, 20 years of Amazon. And it's a line that goes like that. But it's really high at the top, and it's really low at the bottom. So I agree with you with that. I think it's just don't panic, if you know what I mean.
There is an acronym on my hat that says, hold on to dear life, my friend.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, everyone's in it for the rocky ride, yeah? I mean, that's part of the fun. Lawrence, you were talking to me earlier about decentralization and seeing it more as a kind of philosophical, well, I suppose in the same way as David, but as more as a kind of a notion of freedom, that someone can be free.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think you have to start at the sort of broadest access point that most people can identify with, right? So if you don't have a technology background, you're like, what's blockchain all about? What is this? How does this work? It's like, well, do you believe in freedom? Oh, well, okay, well, that's a great starting point, because if you don't, we can't even start the conversation. We believe, I think we collectively believe, that this is the pathway to that ultimate reality or the vision without a middle layer of the government or the corporations being involved. So I think it's always a starting point. You can always talk about the technology piece, but if you talk about the technology first, you might lose half the audience. So I always like that. That's why I say philosophically driven, then you can get into the bottom layer of the technology.
I'm a freedom guy, right? but I know if there was anarchy, I'd be crushed. I like being free in a state of non-freedom, if you know what I mean. So I sometimes think that decentralization sounds great, and it's awesome, but it can also create a great amount of chaos, and a lot of people can be crushed in the process. And that's not freedom.
Well, I mean, you also have to define what freedom is for you. So, I mean, there's a concept called mechanism design, which is sort of high-level economics theory. And the idea is that you have a certain outcome in mind, and you reverse engineer that into the technology with which outcome you have in mind. So if you want anarchy, you can actually program that into the technology.
Nature as nurture.
Nature versus nurture.
Nature as nurture.
Nature as nurture.
Different. I've just read a book called Blueprint. Awesome.
Yes.
Read it. Jimmy,
yep.
You've been around, my friend. You've been ICO, IPO, STO, all of these acronyms.
Yep.
But first of all, there was the ultimate acronym, VC, Venture Capitalist.
Yep.
This is where it all came from, really.
Well, yeah, so I think to talk about these three acronyms, you need to divide them into two categories. One is IPO, then ICO, and STO is the second category, which is related to token, right? So I think the ICO really created a new way for companies to raise money in a traditional way. Because if you think about startup, normally you go through this angel round, and you raise a VC round. But if you look at ICO round, the size of money you raise is around like $30, $50 million. It's much bigger than a VC round. But it's way below to the IPO. But it really depends on the size of the company. For last year, I always give a really good comparison between two companies. One is Spotify, right? They have 80 million paying customers, and they raise about 10 billion IPO market. But the other side is the Telegram. They have 0 paying customer, but a great user base. They still raise like $2 billion US at the end of the day. So the size of the ICO is comparable to IPO. So in a sense, like the way to raise money is changing. And I agree with you, like society-wise, like it's really democratized the access to the capital market. But between ICO and STO, the difference is really tricky because everybody talking about tokens, right? So what is it, a token? The token could be a utility, or a token could be a security. In a sense, like when I first heard of this ICO decentralization, always the people giving examples like, oh, you look at this building. You can chalk this building to 1 million pieces and sending tokens to represent each of the assets. If the price goes up, the value goes, everybody benefit. But for me, it is actually a security.
Can you answer me a question as well as maybe the audience? The difference between a token and a security token.
Okay, so
in very simple terms, just for me.
In a very simple term, so when it comes to token, normally there's 3 major categorizations. First one we call payment token. What is payment token? Bitcoin is a payment. Basically, you can use for payment. You can use everywhere. And the second category called utility. What is utility? You think about a company create ecosystem. Inside the ecosystem is like a platform. People on top of the platform doing interchange value and so on. They use the voucher, the token instead of real money. That's utility, but it's only applied within this ecosystem.
Right.
Then security is something completely different. It could be a stock, could be a property, could be ownership. That represent actually value in the real world.
But does that bring when it comes to security tokens, does that bring it into a different regulation?
Yes, exactly.
Area?
Exactly.
And how and why, and what's likely to happen?
Because in traditional financial market, all these security has a different, they already have existing regulation. For utility token is now trading on a crypto exchange, also payment token, there's no regulation already in place. Yeah. So people trade as like, even regulators don't know how to regulate them.
Yeah.
Because Malta has been the first country in the world actually come up with a law around the regulation, which I put my hands applause up. So because that's why we come here to operate.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Jean, we can talk about security now. As we discussed backstage, I was recently a victim of a crypto theft. All of my Ether 6 weeks ago. My Ether wallet tried their best. The money was taken into Binance. I had an alert on my money, but I couldn't get a block on my money. Then the money was moved. I got in touch with Binance. They did their best, but they said, we'll get back to you in 72 hours. Now, that's not good, because if that transaction is transacted, then you can't reverse that transaction and I lose my money. I wanted a decision in 72 seconds, not 72 days, right? So there seems to be, I mean, it's a great story. Unfortunately, it's my story.
It's an expensive story.
Yeah, well, I think someone said earlier, I think it was Brock that said, yeah, the pain threshold or something like that. You certainly learn from your mistakes. But it seems to me that it's really easy for this money to be stolen. And it's not just that. There's a lot of talk about onboarding things, right? But there's not much talk about offboarding. So I've just tried to get my iPod going again, right? It's so difficult to get, they don't want you to use an iPod. They want you to use Apple Music. And this onboarding and offboarding, especially when it comes to crypto, is death. There's also death, that people die, and no one knows where this money's gone, and no one's doing this. Why do you think we've got to this stage where it looks like it might be a last grab? It looks like security is being beefed up. They've finally realized it. And I'm a bit of an idiot, but not a complete idiot. I did try and put my private key, two-tier authentication, Gmail drafts, and they still got it. Why do you think it's come to this kind of state? And what have you done, and how are you helping to improve it?
Okay, so first off...
A lot of questions, sorry.
Yeah, quite a few. So first off, I think there's quite a huge misconception. So people tend to think that blockchain tech is extremely secure, which in fact it really is. The problem is that it's very heavily reliant on off-chain tech and traditional tech, which is inherently vulnerable. And there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of security companies out there that are used to dealing with companies' security on a traditional way, but when it comes to exchanges, for example, it's a completely different beast.
Yeah.
It's a different animal. And same goes with the number of moving parts. In this case, your email account was a part of that entire process, which the exchange, unfortunately, has no control over. Yeah. But at the same time, it's in their interest to make sure that that is in.
Well, I think it was in their interest not to block the transaction, because they didn't want to get a reputation for blocking transactions, because then no one would use their platform, right? So I think there's a line between the two that seems to be jagged, and it doesn't. I mean, I've written a lot about cybersecurity, especially the Internet of Things, and people in their own house allow unpassword protected devices in their house with their children with these devices on all the time. Here you are, here's my house, here's a great big fucking window, climb through it. And it seems to be the same case with crypto.
Of course, I mean, to like add...
How do you shut the window?
I'm sorry?
How do you shut the window?
How do you shut the window? I think you shut the window, at least my opinion would be that you create a set of standards, a set of security standards, which is something which we're trying to do at the moment. We're working with a few exchanges to try and come up with a list of best practices that we think should be adhered to by exchanges to try and prevent a hack. Just to add an interesting fun fact here, there's been $1.2 billion worth of crypto stolen so far this year, and the year is not done.
This year?
This year. And the year is not done. There's going to be a lot more stolen until New Year's Eve.
Do you think that now that the price has gone down, that the thieves will go away?
Not at all, because I mean, I believe what goes down must come up, and I think that there's a lot of faith in the crypto space, and I think the fact that the prices are lower actually kind of helps things a little bit from a hacker's perspective,
really?
because it pushes interest away from the space, and perhaps maybe would cause exchanges to have their guards let down a little bit.
Maybe. I mean, you can see the clamor for regulation has died down since the market's died down. I think that's true. Lawrence, you were nodding your head there.
Well, you know, it's interesting. You're talking about the security aspects, and I think part of the security aspects of the technology is actually the centralization, i.e., the exchanges. So that's the weak point. So that's actually not actually reinforcing the vision of the technology. So if you want to, I think you have to remove those weak points ultimately, right? So that's why the conversation around decentralized exchanges are coming about, because then you're going to have less weak points.
Somebody on Twitter said you were the weak point here.
Exactly.
And said that I wasn't very bright. So I've got.
Well,
I've got his number, you know.
But I mean, you put your faith in a third party.
Yeah.
That's the point. So whereas the technology, as it evolves, if I'm dealing between me and you directly, the only weak link is between us, right? So we're using technology that actually has no place. I know it's acting as a bridge, but ultimately has no place in the ultimate vision.
David, you've seen a few things. You've raised lots of money and you've gone through, I'm sure you imagine, lots of iterations of this technology business world. What are your thoughts on the current state of play?
Well, I think it drives down to three fundamental things: trust, transparency, and accountability to the investors community. And I think our infrastructure and the regulatory process and the governments involved are trying to safeguard the investors and their confidence. We don't have a full ability to grow. The blockchain community is in the early days. I compare it to the internet emerging. And so now we're building those blocks to safeguard the investors and build that confidence. We need custodial services to be an agent to protect the investors and the token allocations given to the companies that are raising millions of dollars, and hold them accountable to making sure they can execute on their business plan. And the white paper is now just what it is, a white paper. If you do an IPO or if you do a security token, utility, whatever you call it, we're still trying to solve a trust issue. And that's fundamentally, and we've come and we're building that infrastructure, as we're speaking, to build that confidence for the investors and also give them the ability to have pure transparency. And I think once we solve those problems, we'll be able to have a much stronger community.
When you talk about investor, I mean, I think I always seem to think of the individual investor, but I think you're talking about that in a different way, the people that invest in blockchain companies.
Yes, that is correct.
Right. And would you, as an investor or someone that knows that investor community, how would you feel about investing in an ICO at this moment in time, as opposed to clearly the bigger IPO or any other form of funding, be it crowdfunding or VC? Do you think that the investor community trusts it?
Not at the moment.
Not at all?
Not at all. I think it's the people that believe in blockchain and having an independent, frictionless global digital currency is groundbreaking for what we're seeing today in this economy and the Wall Street markets. I think there's a lot of correction taking place. Yep. There's a lot of regulatory process to until the confidence is there, we won't be able to achieve the milestones. We're talking 20, 30,000, benchmarks we've seen in the past.
Yeah. Well, perhaps we want to, sorry, David, excuse me. I mean, I think all of us would be blockchain adherents, right? We believe in blockchain, would you say so? It just seems to me that it's taking time. To me, it seems like the internet's infected. Talking about the security aspects of all types of the internet, whether it's misinformation or IoT or anything like that. I just wonder if blockchain is going to be the awesome thing that everyone says, because there's been a lot of backlash of late.
Yeah, the whole crypto market, if you look at it, the size of it, we have around maybe already 3,000 different kind of tokens. The top 10 of them consists of 86, 87% of total market value. Yeah. That means, like, let's say if you create a token, like 90% of the token are shit coins, like put like that way. So there has no consensus there. Like you can easy to create a token, but I think blockchain and technology is definitely healthy. But the way people use it, like it's been misused. A lot of scammers out there like try to create a token which has absolutely no value.
Yeah,
sell people. That's a problem.
But okay, so we're probably going to have to close up. I'm really interested. It's like we haven't started the conversation. I suppose I'll begin with you, David. So trends for 2019, anything. Is there going to be another acronym like ICPO, STO, FUMZ? Something else we have to remember?
I don't think. I think the STO is going to be a focus because people realize fundamentally you need to have value backend is up. What is it you're buying?
Okay, so my final question, a better question is, what do people need to learn next year? What do they need to learn up about?
Learn about, like, you mean the risk? Or what
no, just in general. Where should they focus their knowledge?
So my advice to people is, like, you really need to understand where you're buying. Just because most of the, what happens with a scam is, like, you just fear of missing out. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Creators, like, you really need to understand fundamentally what is the thing you're buying, trading as.
Or maybe they need to learn patience.
Yeah.
Right, John.
I agree entirely with Jimmy. I think this is a very vast and complex space, and I don't think that people do the right due diligence before investing, Absolutely. And they really should.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You just get stuck in. You might get burned in the process, but you'll learn too. I mean, there's no ultimate safeguards. You're just gonna have to learn, and you're gonna get bumps and bruises on the way.
I got burned. Yeah. Thank you, David. Final word, sir.
I think it's all about how we be able to evolve from where we are right now. We're still in the early stages of how do we define blockchain? How do we, protect the investors' communities and the shareholders, and also still building on this innovation disruption, which is needed in today's marketplace. And I think at this point, it's the survival of the community and us collaborating together as true good partners to keep the dark side from entering the industry.
Well, survival of the most patient then, not survival of the fittest, maybe. Listen, a really great conversation. I hope to pick it up with you personally later. But a round of applause for my awesome panel, please. Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah. Cheers. Excellent. Thank you, gentlemen.
The advantages of building original blockchain platforms. Hayato Terai, Ghana 8 coin.
Hello. Oh, I'm on mic. My name is Hayato Terai, and I'm Japanese. My company based in London, but basically a Japanese company. I'm based in Japan, and that GHC, that's a Japanese one of us as well. It's a Ganapati group. GHC issues blockchain tokens, and I'm here to speak a little bit about the advantages of building original blockchain platforms. Well, actually, we're doing that as well, but I'm not here to promote our tokens or anything like that. I would like to speak about what the advantageous points are on building original blockchain tokens. Now, well, basically, the tokens that are around right now, I'm not sure I had really looked into it, but I think that most of the tokens are Ethereum-based tokens. Well, iGaming-related tokens, that is. And to build an Ethereum-based token, it's very simple. You don't need that much of a time. You don't need, it's not that costly. But to build an original token of your own, original wallet, an original blockchain platform, well, this takes time, it takes cost. So there has to be an advantage in doing so, and that's the reason why we're doing it as well. But it is advantageous. See, I think there are like 3 points that I could break down into, and explain about the advantages. First, it's the transparency and the fairness of blockchain technology itself. As you all know, blockchain technology is all about transparency. I mean, you can't really alternate the blockchain in any way. That's why it's trustful and it's transparent. Everybody could check it. And if you build a original blockchain token platform and a wallet in order to combine that together and sort of perform your games as an operator, what we could do is that we could sort of like share that transparency with the players that's actually playing the game. Now, the point is, players are always, when they lose, they seem that they have an idea that they're cheated. But that's not really so. No one's really cheating them, I suppose. But technically, they could be cheated, and that's the point. But if we have the original blockchain platform, what we could do is that we could have the players actually check the winning and losing percentage, or, well, someone winning, someone losing, those up and downs as of the operator site, if it's built based on blockchain. So we could share that information to the players, and in order to do so, players feel safe in playing the games to the certain operators. And the operator will, of course, will attain the trust that they always had deserved to attain. And that's very, it's a trustful and it's very advantageous for the operators and, of course, for the players as well. And we see a big value in that. Well, we should all see a big value in that. And secondly, to build an original blockchain token, the original blockchain token could be bet directly into the casino, iGame casino machines, which if it's like Ethereum-based token, it cannot, because for each transaction, for each bet, if it's an Ethereum-based token, there will be something called a gas. It's like a commission. So for each play, there will be a commission costing for the players. So it's like you start playing your game, and when you bet, even when you bet at the first stage, you get your commission taken. So even you're losing at that point. And it's not going to work anyways, because no one's going to pay that sort of a commission to play repeatedly. But with the original token, original blockchain token, if you build it, and if you have a platform to play that, it would not cost anything. If you have your wallet, if you have your original token, you could bet that token into the machine and play the game. It's very simple, and of course, for the players, it's well. But as for the operators, it's very convenient for them as well. So there's no trouble of sort of like exchanging real money into casino chips or anything like that. They could just hold their token and play the games themselves, betting into the casino machines. And that's one of the advantages as well. And the third advantage that we came to come across is that the original blockchain platform, if we have one of that, it could sort of like be used by many operators, well, maybe hundreds, we suppose. So if we have that platform played on it, they could bet, the players could bet with the token, the blockchain token. They could bet with that token into any operator that has the same platform. By doing that, the players don't have to really, in order to go to the platforms, they don't have to, like, they don't have to go and sort of exchange real currency into some casino chips or anything like that. They could just go and play in many platforms as possible, if there are many. So you could go to one to one, the another, very smoothly. And of course, in that sense, players could have the opportunity to play at many platforms. And of course, for the operators, they would have a big chance of sort of like getting new players to them, because it's very easy for them to sort of like change the sites and go to lots of platforms. And this, I believe, would really solve the problem about between the operators themselves, to sort of like transfer one player to another. That could be solved very easily. We have the original blockchain token, blockchain wallet, and blockchain platform. And those are the advantages that I have in mind right now. I'm sharing with you. Now, the blockchain technology, it is as it is. It's a wonderful new technology. And well, I sort of broke it down to those points as of the platform's point of view. But it's a great technology, and maybe in the future, by using this technology, maybe we could have some new games. Nothing that we could imagine as of right now, but that's to leave it for the future, I guess. And I wanted to share my idea with the advantage of building an original blockchain platform as of now, today. Well, I was supposed to speak like 10 minutes. I'm a little bit short, but thank you for listening. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Transparency versus the right to be forgotten. Blockchain has the potential to solve many of the transparency issues of current data storing solutions. But how does it relate to the ongoing debate about the right to be forgotten at an EU level? Ruben Portanier, Affiliation.
Good afternoon, everybody. I was given 5 minutes for this. It took me longer to propose to my wife, so I think it's going to be a bit of a challenge. GDPR and blockchain. It seems that the debate around both sort of new kids on the block seems to center around that there are certain incompatibilities. So we'll try and go through these points and try and assess whether, in truth, there are commonalities and whether there is a real conflict when it comes to GDPR. So we are now almost 6 months into the new GDPR regulation. The General Data Protection Regulation is an EU-wide regulation which each country is mandated to follow. And therefore, each company is also mandated to follow, whether they are EU-based or outside of the EU, primarily due to the protection of the personal data of EU citizens. So the center is around the EU citizen. The whole scope of GDPR, when we had to see what there is here on the screen, seems to center very much on the same principles of blockchain, in truth, because the regulation is there to strengthen privacy, it is there to strengthen the protection of data, it is there also to give people more control to their data. And blockchain is, one of the key elements that actually empowers people to have control of what there is over the blockchain. However, there may be points of conflict between the EU's GDPR and what we're seeing has developed in terms of the blockchain technology. There is also a privacy regulation that is actually going to be issued at an EU level. There have been some delays in that. Some are arguing that the delays may be because the European Commission is actually trying to assess how it can encapsulate the concept of blockchain within the privacy rules. But that is a bit of a speculation. But again, there may be some difficulties over there. So one of the most critical and fundamental issues when it comes to GDPR is one of the rights that emanate from the law, which is that of the right of erasure, or better known as the right to be forgotten. As we know, blockchain is based on being immutable, so whatever is on the blockchain is irreversibly undeletable. So it's there on the chain and it's there forever. So over here, you may see that immediately there is an immediate conflict. I will skip this because
the principles are very similar to what we have on the concept of blockchain. And I probably also skipped this because everybody in this room by now, since this afternoon, started to learn a bit more of how the blockchain works. This is using the Merkle tree hash and how the hashing works on the blockchain. But there are certain GDPR questions that needs to be answered. And the most fundamental is how can you accommodate the request by a data subject to delete personal data when you have an issue that data on the blockchain is not deletable. GDPR centers around these fundamental principles and rights, and they all center around the control of the individual to have on his personal data. So what are the possible solutions in trying to address the conflict between the fact that you have the right for erasure and what cannot be done on the blockchain? The first one is using an off-chain storage. So you're having data personal data which is stored on the off-chain and only having a link to the main chain, so that if there is a request for that data to be deleted, you just delete it from the off-chain storage. The other solution is the deletion of encryption keys, where by deleting the encryption key, you remove the reference to the personal data. The issue there, however, is that in reality, when you are deleting encryption keys, the data is still there. You just close the door, but what is in the room remains in the room. Pseudonymization is another technique, which is basically coupling off-chain storage and the deletion of encryption keys. Again, over here, there is the issue that the data may still be traceable from a GDPR point of view. Last example of how data could be deleted at the request of the data subject is by using private enterprise chains. So here, having a small group which has access to that particular chain, and thereby minimizing the risk that there may be a data breach of that personal data. However, it's a minimization principle. It is not a deletion principle. So from a GDPR standpoint, it is still not compatible. We just need to keep in mind that GDPR is a regulation. It is here to stay. It was designed to be platform neutral. However, it wasn't designed keeping the blockchain technology in mind. So it was designed based on the legacy systems. So here the challenge is how can blockchain technology manage to address the situation whereby the law is saying something, but the technology has a direction towards going to a decentralized environment. Thank you very much.
MGA update on DLT. How is the Malta Gaming Authority taking the lead from a regulatory standpoint in this space? What are the opportunities and challenges ahead? Gerald Fenech, Forbes. Jean-Paul Fabry, ARQ Group. Abdallah Kablan, Wiser. Moderated by Carl Brincut, MGA.
So, hello ladies and gentlemen. We come to this panel where we're going to discuss an update on the MGA's policy on DLT regulation. With me, I've got a distinguished panel of guests, which include Jean-Paul Fabry from ARQ Group, Dr. Abdallah Kablan, who I'm sure everybody knows, for good reasons.
I hope so.
And Carl Brinkat from the MGA. Right, I'd like to start with Carl. We've been talking a lot about this sandbox, which the MGA is working on as regarding DLT regulation. Maybe you could give a bit of an overview of what the situation is and how things are progressing, and maybe to simplify the situation, the actual.
Sure, Gerald. So maybe to give an update on for some people in the audience who may not be familiar, the road so far was that we had both a private and a public consultation with industry, because we sought to get the industry's feedback in order to make sure, as we always do, that any regulatory initiatives take the industry's opinions and comments on board, and because ultimately the expertise lies in the industry and the innovation emerges from the industry on this. We had the help of many competent people, both from the technical side and elsewhere. We also commissioned studies on the risks, etc. So we had quite a bit of a background leading up to it. That led to the eventual publication of the sandbox framework in early October, which is meant to go in force on the 1st of January. It's meant to go into force on the 1st of January at the very least for the acceptance of virtual financial assets. If at the time there will be already auditors approved by the Malta Digital Innovation Authority for the technology itself, then shortly afterwards we will be in a position to go online with receiving applications for the use of the technology as well by our licensees. That's the road so far. What we are currently doing is trying to ensure, insofar as possible, alignment, as we've done thus far, with both the Financial Services Authority for VFAs and tokens and with the Digital Innovation Authority for the technology, to make sure that the process is as holistic as possible and that we do not duplicate each other's checks, but at the same time, we do not leave lacuna in the checks that we carry out. So that is what we're currently at. We're currently refining the internal processes and teams and training. And we are also refining how we are going to achieve the objectives of the sandbox. So the reason why we have issued a sandbox framework is because we're cognizant of the fact that there are certain risks which we aim to control and contain, but also it is in order for us to be able to learn and to take a more robust position moving forward after the sandbox framework. So we are also finalizing the objectives that we seek to achieve by means of it.
Very good. Abdallah, Carl talked about the MGA's proactivity in the field of DLT and regulation. Obviously, you are involved in the blockchain strategy task force. You've really been moving forward in this area. What's the lesson that's being learned for regulators in Malta? Should they follow the MGA's example? We know that we've introduced the 3 virtual financial assets, cryptocurrency, and MDIA bills. Maybe you could also update us on what's happening in that area.
Definitely. I mean, first of all, thank you so much for having me here, and it's a pleasure to be sharing the panel with all of you. When it comes to the latest updates on what has happened in Malta, I think we're quite lucky in Malta to have such, let's say, a team, because everyone is working for the same purpose of regulators, innovators, and also authorities that are sharing the same vision and pretty much are in line with each other when it comes to what we're doing. The approach that Malta has taken from the very beginning was to create a holistic framework that looks at this new sector, this new industry, from a 360-degree standpoint. And for this reason, when these new laws that have come out that you've mentioned, Gerald, they approached it from this holistic approach. There was the first law or first act to enact an authority, the Malta Digital Innovation Authority, that will regulate technology arrangements and services, starting with DLT, out of which blockchain is an architecture, and with a vision and an aim to move into AI and IoT eventually. And secondly was the ITAS law, or the Innovative Technology and then Arrangements and Services Act, which defines pretty much what are these technology arrangements and services, and creating eventually guidelines and policies around the regulation of these technology arrangements and services. And the reason why this is incredibly innovative and different and new than anything else that has happened around the world is it really takes into its core and it's the spirit of it, even though it is a law, the technological aspect as well. It is pretty much a regulation for engineers by engineers. And as a technologist, I genuinely appreciate this because technologists were not the biggest fans of the word regulation to start with, because as soon as we hear the word regulation, we think that innovation is being stifled and we're being shackled and we can't actually innovate. But when we look at the ITAS law, which is the second law, we look at that it is actually taking in consideration definitions that are actually quite technical. People who wrote these laws and the very good legal team that has written those laws actually understood things such as what are smart contracts, code injections, and things like that without going too technical in them. And they've reflected them in the law. And the law is dynamic in a way that if there are any changes in the technology itself, it will be able to get updated accordingly. The third one is the Virtual Financial Assets Law, which falls under the MFSA, the Malta Financial Services Authority, which is the financial regulator here in Malta, who's been regulating this industry for so many years. But because of the new advances that have come up with the advent of blockchain, such as ICOs, STOs, ETOs, and products that need to be very well defined, whether they're utility or security or financial instruments, etc., the MFSA has come up with this law that will regulate those. However, it didn't stop there. It is fantastic to see, for example, the Malta Gaming Authority coming up with their regulatory sandbox that Carl has articulated very well now. That's pretty much in line with the overall vision of all the other regulatory policies, laws that have been issued. So there are not going to be any overlap or anyone actually over-regulating or double regulation that comes, but they're all complementing each other pretty well. And this is the beauty of what we have in Malta. We have very open communication between all the authorities. Everyone is collaborating together towards a common purpose and towards like the common good for the industry that we're seeing as a new industry that's coming up. And we all are working together, technologists, authorities, and legal figures, to make sure that we are protecting the consumers and the investors at the same time.
Thank you very much. Jean-Paul, sometimes we discuss this impact, the economic impact of innovation and Malta as a jurisdiction. Maybe you can expand on, let's say, a helicopter view of what's actually being achieved. We are moving very fast in these areas, so maybe you can comment on what we've just discussed regarding regulation and the economic impact.
Yep. Thanks, Gerald, and thanks for the invitation. I'll start from Abdallah's comment, because Abdallah mentioned something which is very, very important, the innovative side of the regulation. And I think in Malta, we excel at setting frameworks which allow for innovation. And the remote gaming is a case in point, a success story. So what started as us being the first country to regulate the sector today is a very big contributor to Malta's economic growth. So if you look at the economic growth for the past 5 years, 20% of that came from the gaming industry, which is no joke, considering that the Maltese economy grew at an average rate of 8.5%. So having 20% of that growth coming from a sector which was designed through regulation, I think should also encourage us that the new sectors that government is actively building, such as blockchain, VFA, will actually bear its fruit in the future. And I also believe that the MGA's stance with the sandbox is a lesson to be learned for all regulators. So if we really want a fintech system to develop, I think regulators need to continue being very proactive, and the sandbox is a case in point. To put things into perspective, sandboxes, although the latest trend with regulators, they're not so common. So I think Malta is actually being very proactive. Even if you look at the stock exchanges, also taking a very proactive approach with its approach to exchanges. So I think the past successes and the current successes of regulated industries should encourage us so that such sectors truly flourish in the years to come.
Thanks, Jean-Pierre. Carl, so the sandbox legislation, what does it actually entail? What are the next steps now? You said it was launched in October. How will it actually function now? What is going to be the process for operators?
So effectively, the way the sandbox is designed is that in line with the risks that were identified for the use of the technology in certain cases and for the use of the VFAs, there are a number of restrictions over and above the normal licensing requirements, so to speak. The reason why they are designed is to mitigate the risks that were identified, but also to enable us and educate us moving forward on how such matters should be regulated. One very easy example to bring is that with traditional fiat currencies, well, you need a form of intermediary in order to deposit with an operator, for example. That form of intermediary can take a number of different regulated entities as a form, but it's something which has been there for a long while. It's something which is regulated. It's an environment that is already well known and is already catered for. Whereas in this instance, especially if you take advanced smart contracts and platforms built entirely on distributed ledger technology, you cut out the middleman. So that is something which, as a regulator, we need to look at, and we need to see whether it deserves a different approach to regulation. So that is why they are designed. As far as process is concerned, obviously, there will be the normal licensing process. But aside from that, it's something which is designed, the sandbox framework is designed to be a living document. So the approach that we've taken thus far with industry, which means taking their feedback on board and learning from each other. So we learn from the industry how they are innovating, and the industry learns from us what we as a regulator want to achieve, what our objectives are, and how we would like them to achieve them. So this kind of coordination, this kind of communication, this open channel of communication is going to be retained. It is extremely important for us to achieve what we want to achieve out of the sandbox framework. So it's going to be a bit of a test and learn approach, really. So we know what we want to achieve. The operators know what we want to achieve, but at the same time, we are in constant contact with each other. We have innovated in this manner. Is this acceptable? Well, okay, so that might affect this objective. How are you still going to achieve it? And this is the kind of the ethos behind the sandbox framework.
Good. Abdallah, we're talking about collaboration. We talked about, you mentioned the fact that technology, legal entities, regulatory entities are collaborating on these new technologies, digital currencies, digital ledger, distributed ledger technology. But we have seen that banks, major banks, sometimes are not actually hostile, but hesitant to embrace this new technology. And this is creating a bit of a stalling environment for companies who want to expand in these sectors. How do you think this divide can be bridged?
I think it's a very good question, and I think it's not a secret that one of the biggest problems in the sector at the moment is the banking paradox. And one can understand it from both sides. I mean, you have banks that are faced with a completely new business model, a business model that disrupts the actual foundations on which the entire banking system is built. And we have the need from the industry, from the users, and from the innovators to actually adopt these new technologies. I think we are actually lucky at the moment that we're going through a very bear market. And one of the reasons that this bear market is allowing is there is a little bit more or less, you know, if I may call it craziness in terms of the amount of people that are jumping on the craze of crypto trading. And it's allowing the actual innovators, the actual disruptors, the actual intellectuals to sit down trying to figure out certain solutions that will assist the banking industry to provide its services better using this new disruptive technology that is DLT. But also, this is giving us time that we need to give to the banks to even understand this technology, because at the end of the day, people always fear what they cannot understand. So I genuinely hope that in the next couple of months we'll see a little bit more positive reception from the banking side. I also think that through regulation, the fact that we're regulating this space now on so many levels will give the banks assurance. The only issue that we have is that there are so many stakeholders when it comes to banking, and there's obviously, issues of corresponding banks and banks from other jurisdictions. This is what's causing the problems. But then it takes one big disruptor that will provide a better, more efficient, easier service that is more user-friendly, like we know more or less a couple of them at the moment, for users to gravitate towards them, and for the regulators and also the banks to see how they're going to reassess their policies and also their services that are provided to keep up with those that have disrupted that space. So I think that next year we're going to see a lot of positivity when it comes to that. I know for a fact that a lot of banks are looking into the matter, but obviously I understand that they have to be cautious, and I'm glad that now that the market is a bit bare, it's giving time for everyone to calm down and think properly on how to solve this problem.
Thank you, Abdallah. We've got just a few minutes left. Jean-Paul, maybe you can encapsulate the comments and what is the future outlook you think for the economy in the context of gaming, digital ledger technology for the next year?
I think that the government has done an excellent job in the sense of the regulation, and I think, as Abdallah said, the tech approach is what will give us a unique competitive advantage, and that it is also paving the way for AI and also other innovative technology. However, a regulatory industry needs a whole ecosystem around it. We're seeing as well that the University of Malta, for example, is taking a proactive approach in preparing and nurturing human talent. The professional side is very geared as well towards this industry. The missing link, as Abdallah said, is the banking system. But even I share his hopes that next year we'll see some new entrants in the market that will hopefully be able to gravitate and sort of tie everything together so that the intention of the sector to truly pick up and flourish will start next year.
Right. I think we've had a very interesting discussion, and the short time we have available, we could go on and on and on, but I'm sure both Carl, Abdallah, and Jean-Paul have provided us with some very interesting insights on what is going to happen in these industries, and there's lots of positivity, and we should really try our best to make the best out of a situation which has put Malta on the map and which continues to put us punching above our weight, so to speak, in these new and exciting industries. Thank you very much for your contributions. Thank you.
Thank you, Jared. Thank you.
Thank you.
A cryptic future, trends and opportunities. What's behind the cryptocurrency sell-off? Will Bitcoin remain a reference point for altcoins? Our next guest speaker will enlighten us with his market analysis. Marco Mortana, CFX Advanced.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. I'm Marco Mortana, the founder of CFX for Invest, a company that did from 30 years ago about finance and investments. I would like to introduce this cryptic future. Why? Because we are dealing with a very bad situation with the cryptos and Bitcoin going down so fast during recent times, over 1 year of going down after the big slump. But we have some ideas to share with you just to understand what is going on and what may be the future. The first question I would say is, what do you think about a growth in price of 20-fold in 2 years? So did you ever find any investment that would grow so much in 2 years? And after a crash, it's still 4 times more the price of 2 years ago. I would say no. There is no investment such that in the world for at least, I don't know how long time. I've seen 30 years of history, and I never saw something like this. But what happened is the Bitcoin is not the only one that grows so much, but this is what happened. It's incredible, completely incredible for anyone that was in the market and outside the market. So what is going on when things like this happen in the financial markets? Bubbles. We call it bubbles. Bubbles are the normality of the markets, of the financial markets. Why are normal? Because it comes that the smart money comes at the beginning, the institutional investors comes after, and then the public understand that there is something interesting to buy, and they get in so fast and so strong that we got to the new highs every day, every week, every month, for months. And so we got to a situation that is unsustainable, unstable, cannot be taken anymore. And so news from the markets, news from big investors says the market is over, we cannot go on like this. And begins the first crash, and then a second, and then a third one. And then you got to the moment of despair, the moment where everyone is losing, but not everyone, only the last one that gets in. This is not just happening, in one market. Every market has these stages, like the internet bubble of the NASDAQ, where we went so up and we went so down from 4,750 to 8,810. So what is going on here is just a cleaning of the market. It was an 83% loss from previous highs. And this has happened not only once with the Bitcoin, but twice and more times in the past. The last time we got 85% loss from the top. And now we are around 82%. So what's going on? Nothing special. This is normal when you got a very big movement like that. Technically, it's a correction. It hurts. It may hurt your portfolio, but the market is not over, as someone is saying. It's just a normal correction. What do the media and the big institutions say about that? Bloomberg Futures, Forbes, and others. Institutional money will be the catalyst. Why? Because the market is still a place for specialists now, the market of cryptos. And the money has been big inside the market, but no big institution came in yet. So there was the need of a cleaning of a market where the bad part of the market will be wiped out, and the good part of the market will be raised and taken on again. What is the average prediction of the big names? At least 25,000. It's unbelievable. Like it was unbelievable when the Bitcoin was at 2,000 and went up to 20,000. So it can be. Pricewaterhouse says, blockchain implementation will accelerate, and we see every day there is a new project in the market, a big money coming in. But we can say that the majority, including us, says no real recovery before the third quarter of 2019, because we need some time to get cleaned everything. Some technical stuff. This is a kind of way of analyzing, you know. If you see the top part with the green bubbles, where there is the opportunity to buy, and the red bubbles, when there is the opportunity to sell. Now we are in the buy option, okay? It's not so unclear. It's unclear now what is going on. It's too early to say we are over with the going down. This is a kind of example of what could be the future, you know, some kind of stabilization like the one we have here could be similar in the future, you know, jumping up and down for a while and then going back again up. But you can find thousands of charts like this, even saying it would go to 100,000. And I mean, we cannot do such kind of opinions. We cannot bet on this. But what is going on is a stabilization around the prices that are now, and then we will see the prices little by little going up again. Why? We can see here the liquidity situation. As you can see in recent months, the liquidity that came into the market, the ICO that were funded, are still like 1 year ago. So it's not such a big deal. There is still a lot of money coming into the market. What is our feeling? Regulations will bring institutional. This is a real issue. So the rules that are coming in Malta and all over the world will take in institutional. Think about Microsoft going into blockchain by itself. Think about other giants that will come into the blockchain because there are the rules that protect them. They will take more liquidity, and the liquidity will create a new uptrend into the crypto market. It will be just Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still 53% of the total of cryptos, but is not going to be alone. What is the deal? What is the truth about investing in cryptos now? Diversification. We control risk by putting money in several projects, because if you just go on one side, you will risk all the portfolio, and that is really a problem. If you go to new tokens in the market, you may lose one, you may lose two, you may lose three, but out of 10, 7 may go very good and multiply the prices, as the Bitcoin can do no more. So we cannot bet only on big cryptos, because the big cryptos will be much more and more stable during years. What will be the real option will be the new tokens. And now there are two kinds of tokens, ICOs and STOs. The ICOs are a real investment. They don't give you nothing beside the idea of getting a result. The STOs are more secure because they give dividends. They give you a kind of property for the future. And that's it. It was just 10 minutes. I could not do more. Okay. Thank you so much.
MDIA, the new authority on the block. Stephen McCarthy discusses the objectives and innovations of the newly established Malta Digital Innovation Authority. Stephen McCarthy, MDIA.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As the introduction stated, I represent the Malta Digital Innovation Authority. Well, basically, it is the first, and as far as I know, it's the only authority in this regard. Basically, this authority deals with distributed ledger technology and smart contracts. So our focus is specifically on DLTs. Obviously, one of them would be blockchain. Other type of technologies where there are centralized technologies wouldn't fall under our remit. So what I will be discussing today is referred to the distributed ledger technology. First of all, many questions come and ask, what does this authority do? What are its functions? Will the MDIA, to refer it in short, will the MDIA issue certifications? Yes and no. The MDIA will issue only certifications where there are voluntary applications to platforms. However, when there are specific purposes like gaming and virtual financial assets, then the respective authorities, which are the Malta Gaming Authority and MFSA, will be the leading authorities and would be the authorities doing the certification. So in this particular case, when it comes to gaming, it is the Malta Gaming Authority which issues the certification. So in our case, the MDIA is there to collaborate, but definitely not to replace. It's there to collaborate and to support the Malta Gaming Authority. So how does the system works? Basically, if there are operators of gaming platforms having an element of DLT, they have to submit a blueprint. This blueprint has to be submitted in a way as prescribed in the guidelines in the Chapter 1, which we have issued. The Malta Gaming Authority will ask the operator to engage a systems auditor registered with the MDIA. And I will come that to later on the requirements of the systems auditor. The MDIA will request an enhanced audit in cases of an ITA, which it considers high risk and complex. So what we're saying is that there will be two types of audits. There will be one which is straightforward, and there will be an enhanced audit, which we will come later on to describe when an enhanced audit is required. But please keep in mind that it is the Malta Gaming Authority which decides when an enhanced audit has to be done or not. And I repeat, the MDIA, which focuses on technology, is there to support MGA when it comes to licensing its platforms. This is an overview, a chart, which explains exactly what we're saying, whereby the operator will submit a blueprint to MGA, gives this blueprint to a systems auditor. A systems auditor then reviews, do the necessary testing, depends on whether it is an enhanced audit which is required or a simple audit. And the systems auditor then issues an opinion. We made it very clear that the systems auditor has to issue an opinion. We're not expecting a systems auditor to do a checklist. Checklist like saying, listen, from 10 functions, 8 are okay and 2 are not, is not acceptable to us. From the systems auditor, we want a clear, definite answer on whether the platform being audited is in accordance to the requirements that we require. The systems auditor then submits an opinion to MGA, and, which is the Malta Gaming Authority, and a copy is given also to our authority. Why do we need a copy? We need a copy of the systems auditor not to do another audit, but we simply want to make sure that the quality of the audit is according to our requirements. As I said, the systems auditor has to follow our guidelines and regulations. And basically, to be accredited as a systems auditor, and I must repeat that from the discussions we're having with MGA, and also in this particular case with MFSA, they will make it mandatory that where there is DLT, they get a systems auditor opinion. A systems auditor who has to be accredited with MDIA. And basically, to be accredited with MDIA, we divide it into 6 main requirements: a university degree in IT, a IT audit certifications like CISA, higher additional requirements in cases of an enhanced audit, and I will come into that later on, has experience in carrying out audits and reporting based on the established standards of ISAE 3000. These are auditor standards which refer to non-financial audits. We relied a lot on those procedures and requirements, and we're using them here. Has suitable experience of 2 years in ITAs in the field that they are being audited. So what we're saying is that it's not good enough to have IT experience, but you must have experience in that particular DLT. If you're auditing, for example, Ethereum, if you don't have any experience in Ethereum, there is no point, irrespective of the number of years of experience in IT. And finally, an element of substance in connection with Malta that is listed in the legal act. ESA is needed. ESA will be decided by the MGA and will be assessed on the following: on the value of the asset ownership of the gaming platform, the value of the monthly transactions that the gaming platform handles over any period of 12 months, and the maximum individual transactions that the gaming platform may handle. So we are in discussions with MGA. They are considering the value to be attributable of the number of transactions, the volume, etc. Because there's no point if a maximum individual transaction is €5, and it should not be treated the same by the systems auditor. If the maximum individual transaction would be over 5,000, they have to be treated differently. So in that particular case, we have the ESA. What are the burdens, finally? What are the burdens which we're expecting? Where MDIA will be raising the bar with respect to the systems auditor doing this type of audits. And the requirements will be based on the number of turnover, number of employees, capital, customer care, whether you have different offices in different countries, etc. Then, more additional burdens would be there will be more regular audits, like biannual, quarterly, or monthly, and the blueprint must include an ongoing audit plan setting out what will be audited with which frequency. So, basically, as I said, there will be 2 audits. The requirements are a bit onerous when it comes to accreditation to a systems auditor. However, although we're dealing with the technology, we had also to consider other factors. And one of the major factors which we had to consider is the reputation that we bring with it. The reputation that accrediting or certifying a particular platform and without doing the proper reviews and tests before giving the certification. So basically, it was a quick overview in the 10 minutes that I have on the interface of the MDIA with the Malta Gaming Authority. Thank you.
Will the casino and sports betting future change with blockchain technology? And if so, are the affiliates interested in promoting and joining this trend? Will marketers, SEO wizards, and affiliates embrace this trend? What's in it for the early adopters? Leanne Johnstone, Affiliate Insider. Jan Samut, Ref Token.
Yeah.
Funsho Ajibade, Blockchain Business Index pages. Moderated by Diana Rotaru, BlockChip.
Hello everyone, thank you for still being around, the ones that are. We apologize, but Mr. Funsho wasn't able to attend some personal issues. However, we have Mr. Adrian joining us today. Thank you, Adrian. Well, we noticed that iGaming industry is quite open, and blockchain is one of the main interests nowadays. However, what we noticed is that affiliates, we don't know the benefits for the affiliates. Everyone is talking the benefits for the operators. Everyone is talking the benefits for the software providers. But what it is in it for the affiliates?
Okay, I assume that one's for me. Since we're the guys
for everyone, I mean.
Since we're the guys with the affiliate platform. Okay, so basically, there are many uses for the blockchain that we're seeing coming out every week, practically. And many of these applications are non-optimal applications. The blockchain really has one killer feature, and that is the ability to create logs of data in an immutable fashion where parties with competing financial incentives, i.e., if you look at an operator versus, so to speak, an affiliate, the affiliate has an incentive to make as much revenue, as large a commission as possible, with as little effort as possible, whereas the operator has the incentive to pay as little as possible for their traffic. So when you have whenever you have systems like this with competing financial incentives and the requirement for auditability, that's a great application for a blockchain. And I would say that the affiliate operator relationship is probably one of the best applications for this technology versus, for example, the B2C side where people are putting in poker on the blockchain. Because if you think about it, nobody is really worried that, PokerStars is not going to pay them out, or the decks are, for all the memes about, bent decks you see on 2+2 forum, there's no real substance to it.
It's not about not paying, but we notice that affiliate programs that end up closing. So you pay, but then in 1 month, after 5 years, they say, we're shutting down our affiliate program. So then what is happening?
So basically, we developed the Ref Token platform, and we mitigated that by placing all the funds that are going to finance a campaign in a smart contract that holds them in escrow. And what this does is it prevents operators going insolvent or simply withholding payments, because the money is sitting there on the blockchain and nobody can access it. But it also allows the affiliates to get paid the instant a conversion happens. They don't need to wait 30 days to get paid, and they don't need to wait for someone to approve the payment, etc.
Just on the first question, if I can go back to the first question,
Sure.
the need for transparency between operators and affiliates is firstly, financial and contractual, which is exactly what blockchain really covers. But it's also, data. It becomes more transparent about how you can actually optimize campaigns, where your traffic's coming from, how that's working. And then it also helps marketing people to get a little bit more savvy about how they can then manage their affiliate relationships individually, because I think right now there's a lot of layers that fit into an online operator's business, from the player stats to the customer retention stats to the affiliate stats, and just marrying all of that stuff together in a very simplistic format, I think lends itself quite well to blockchain. I don't know, from an affiliate perspective, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, what we've done with sports betting with Better, which is the business that I run, we've taken the business into little pieces and said, how can we take each piece and basically take away the operator in a way? So in terms of the sports bet, we escrow the funds on blockchain. There's no one holding the money in the middle. The layers, risk is escrowed and so on. And that's all running now. We paid our attention into the affiliate space, and we're launching our affiliate contracts in the next week or so. And again, looking at how we can remove any third party making a decision as to whether someone gets paid by actually just doing it automatically. So it's all coded into the contract. You'll pay when a bet loses. A piece of the punter's loss goes to the affiliate at the time the bet settles, and there's no way it can be rigged. And the wallets are tagged for life. So in the smart contracts, you can't detag a wallet. It's impossible. So when you create an Ether wallet, if you're an affiliate, that wallet is yours for life. That's it, full stop.
So that's actually, if you don't mind me asking that question, because we were sitting in a panel discussion earlier where they were talking about, and I thought about this from an affiliate perspective, what happens when an affiliate passes away? What happens to that escrow wallet with all the money in, and how does the smart contract actually transfer? And I think that's something probably you two.
When an affiliate passes away?
Yeah, if an affiliate passes away, what happens to that smart contract?
Well, it's a bit like a bank account, isn't it? It's a wallet. So all we know about is an Ethereum wallet. The money goes into the wallet. Now, if that wallet, if control of that wallet is lost, then the funds will accumulate forever in that wallet.
Okay.
Because no one else can access it.
There are mechanisms that you can place where you can set, there are protocols you can set where you can have basically a child wallet or an inheriting wallet. It's something that we're building into the Ref Token platform. And what this will allow is, it will be basically a timestamp, and if no withdrawals are taken out of that wallet within a certain number of blocks, and obviously every blockchain has its own block time, so you can set that out to be, say, 2 years, for example, then it will automatically transfer all the funds to basically a beneficiary wallet. And that can be, your wife, your son, your,
next of kin.
Next of kin,
But this is something, sorry to interrupt, this is something basically you need to set up from the beginning. I mean, when someone signs up as an affiliate, you have to come and say, I need a secondary account who will be the beneficiary of it.
Well, okay. Every platform has its own unique architecture. In our platform, the way it works is you would set up your wallet, and you can also add in an inheritance wallet, for want of a better word, a beneficiary wallet. And it's something that, yes, you need to think about in advance. Anyone that is trading in crypto or is accumulating crypto in any serious amount needs to make allowances for the fact that they might be hit by a bus tomorrow. So just like you write a will, you need to have a protocol for someone to take over your wallets, and with very clear instructions on how to liquidate them, and with all the documentations in place.
Yeah. In terms of like the payments process, I mean, how does it matter where they cash out from that wallet, or like what's the?
In the case of the beneficiary wallet.
Yeah.
So yes, basically it would be a very simple function where it will note the last withdrawal, and once a set period of time has expired with no withdrawals, then it will automatically transfer all the funds to the beneficiary wallet.
But this is a bit of an edge case, really, isn't it? I mean, the real issue with affiliates, in my experience in 20 years in this casino industry, is that operators get greedy and nick the affiliates' players, and that's really the beauty of hard coding it in immutable contracts. You can keep your revenue stream going.
No, 90%, I agree. The whole structure of putting an affiliate platform on the blockchain and using smart contracts is to protect both the affiliate, but also to protect the merchant, because neither sides is totally innocent in this deal. And just like there are operators that skim on data, on sales figures and withhold payments, there are also affiliates that run, CPA scams and stuff like that. So running everything on the blockchain will actually allow affiliate managers to go in and audit each together with the affiliates. Spin by spin, game by game, bet by bet, it will all be logged on the blockchain, and it will be much harder for an affiliate to cheat an operator by using fake traffic, because it would require a lot of human resources. You would need someone in there. You wouldn't be able to have people logging into with a VPN, going into roulette, putting all the money on a number, spinning, losing, logging out because they hit the trigger. It would require...
So basically what blockchain does, it allows, as you said, creating certain deals on a more granular level, and because it is real data that is coming, live data, and we can do it via blockchain. Now, this is happening. But a question that I wanted to ask, we all know that been issues with chargebacks in the industry, as you say, CPAs, fraud, and so on. You say the payments are made instantly, which is amazing. It's what we want to give people, like revenue, the first moment. But chargebacks are still an option using Ethereum and Bitcoins, right?
Okay, so basically the main use case for a platform, again, such as ours, would be a pure crypto application. So a casino that runs on Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatnot, and other crypto-based businesses. There are methods of setting in a percentage of the commissions in escrow, where a certain amount is locked in for 120 days, and it all comes down to the individual operator's risk appetite. How much are they willing to put their own revenues on the line to appease their affiliates? But there are also, we're having very interesting discussions with a card processing company, which is promising to process credit card payments for crypto businesses, and they guarantee that there won't be any chargebacks. Now, whether they have an insurance policy out on it or exactly the mechanism behind it, so we're starting to see the banking industry and the payment acquisition industry catch up with this problem.
This is a very important thing, I think, because nowadays with chargebacks, you need to have two-factor authentication. You have everything. So I think something more still needs to be done on the blockchain to get to the level. I mean, blockchain is secure, but there are still steps to be made to have that, to get to a higher security.
But the interesting point about the immediacy of payouts is not actually so much related to chargebacks and frauds. It's related to GGR calculation. Yes. Because in most affiliate campaigns will run, most affiliate programs will run monthly calculations, and they'll net off wins against losses and give you a net GGR. Correct. You can't do that if you're paying out your commissions when the games have been played. So in our situation where we're actually paying out when the sports bet is settled, we can't net off the wins against the losses because we don't have any sort of running tab going on.
Yes.
So what we've had to do is take a mathematical calculation. Instead of saying we're going to pay arguably 30% or whatever it is, we're saying we'll pay 1.5% of the losses, which equates to the same thing on average. Is my phone ringing?
But does that mean that the way that we incentivize affiliates could potentially change completely from how we actually understand the affiliate model today because of the transparency, because of the immediacy that we can implement? And then how does that actually then not change the whole affiliate market into just a media buying economy at different levels of scale? And what does that actually mean? I think that's the key question that I would want to know.
Yeah, that's a very good point. If you look at the user architecture for many distributed applications, there's no such thing as a user account. If you log into a distributed exchange, you have an address and a key, and that's created, and you can regenerate it every time you want to use the application. So rather, you tend to see this architecture lending itself more to a session-specific revenue share deal, because you don't really have user accounts, you just have user sessions.
Okay. And how would that change this whole industry? I mean, where everything works on rev share or CPA or a hybrid of both? Because it's quite a big leap that we're talking about now in terms of changing, the infrastructure of how affiliate marketing works, getting more clarity, getting more data, but then reinventing kind of the wheel with this technology as the base point, really.
I mean, I worked in gambling for 10 years, both on the affiliate side and on the operator side, and I'd say that operators self-immolated themselves with the rush and going into CPAs, because they've really strangled the business. They've put themselves in a bind where it's become a race to pay the highest CPA. The margins have dropped dramatically. It's very hard to dig yourself out of that hole. It's very hard, especially for trade. I've worked for some large publicly traded companies which focus on a quarterly target. So there's this instant gratification for we need this many players at the end of this quarter. And affiliates are a very easy way of getting that traffic, but it's not going to be very profitable traffic because you're going to be paying these very high CPAs, and then you need about 12 to 16 months to recoup that money back. But then again, they've spoiled the affiliate industry by offering them CPAs, and who's not going to take money up front when, who's not going to take the money up front when they can?
Yeah.
So I think it might be a very healthy rebalancing for the industry as a whole.
I mean, one question from me, if you don't mind me asking it, is just how long, 20 years ago we were looking at cell phones going, yeah, right, like who's going to use a mobile phone? Now we're in a space where blockchain is really new and early adopters are getting in with it, but how far away are we from actually moving away from the current tracking models that we have in the affiliate space to what it could be based on the based on what it offers? I mean, are we 10 years away? Are we 20 years away? What do we know?
I think we're there now. No, I think, as you say, Jan already built an amazing program and he's ready to launch it very soon. We've been building an operator and a white label solution and a software provider all together, utilizing blockchain technology, same as Adrian did on the sports betting side. We're focusing more on the casino side. So we are there. The only thing is to get people to actually understand the proper benefits, what is in for them, to have an interface, a user-friendly interface, because nowadays, if it is use anything on blockchain, you need to go to MetaMask, you need to do all kinds of things, which is, let's face it, not doable from a user perspective. So if you want to create something, you need to create something that is able to integrate blockchain into it. The products are there already. Gambling is there, casino backends are there, affiliate programs are there. It's just changing the way you treat data. That's it, and make it user-friendly. So I don't think we're that far. And more conferences and everything, I think people are starting to understand even more.
Agreed. The industry is still very much at this stage where the UIs are very obviously built by engineers rather than designers and UX experts. So it's very clunky and difficult to use at the moment, but this is something that will incrementally improve. The front end of a product is something that you can roll out. You can roll out in 3 months, 6 months.
You haven't seen our latest client yet.
Huh?
It's amazing. It's awesome.
No, but this is
really is cool.
But this is it. Up until now, up until now, all these proof of concepts that were coming out were built by engineers. So
yeah, they're clunky. Yeah.
They were very clunky, very awkward to use, and they were plain ugly.
Yeah, I agree, but it's changing.
But it will improve now when the entrepreneurs and the you know,
and there's some really cool stuff you can do. Like we have a Telegram bot. You can actually bet on Telegram, and it sends you the odds just before the game starts. And you say, I'll take Chelsea at 2.5, and boom, bet's done.
That's amazing.
Never leave Telegram. It's all on Ethereum. There's some really cool stuff you can do with this technology. So yeah. But in answer to what you were saying earlier, I don't think we're there yet. We're in 1997, 98 maybe in internet web terms. And that's because the users aren't there. We don't have mass user adoption. We've got probably 5% of the world who play around with
this is where the
crypto.
company should step in, because companies should understand what technology they need for their company. People, once they come, say, oh, I want blockchain. If you want to run your company on Ethereum or just Bitcoin as a blockchain, it's not going to happen. There is no way. You need to figure it out, how to integrate what the blockchain actually is in yours, make it user-friendly, and then everything happens.
Yeah, so
why don't we use the affiliates to push this message forward? Because affiliates are always early adopters. They're always the ones that get in first and look at niche markets and look at niche products. So why aren't we educating affiliates more to actually push that message out to the public?
Affiliates have been quite interested into promoting all the Bitcoin casinos.
Yeah.
And they've been...
But they're interested in it from a revenue perspective, because it's
from a revenue,
but rather
correct.
educate the consumer as well. I think that's a really
But
key
with
thing.
Bitcoin, it was, as you say, to learn people, to teach them what it is. So Bitcoin was actually a good thing for them to actually have an understanding what is happening behind it. So what do you think? Affiliates will use more and more blockchain, will trust blockchain programs?
I think that definitely once affiliates get more comfortable with the technology and its benefits and its transparency, etc., and affiliates are generally pretty tech-savvy and forward-moving and innovative by nature, I think we will definitely see more and more of the larger affiliates jump on to the bandwagon.
Interesting.
Great.
We have to kindly conclude. we will leave it at that. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you
having us.
for joining me today.
Thank you very much.
Lovely having you.
Thank you.
Is blockchain disrupting the gaming industry? The opportunity for a transparent and fair platform for iGaming is there. Thanks to blockchain technology, players can do away with the need to trust a central authority. Strong communities based on tokens can also be built, paving the way for operators to reinvent themselves. Steve Muscata Tsapardi, Ketkuti Kauki Advocates. Silvana Zamit, Ketkuti Kauki Advocates.
Good evening. Thanks everyone for joining us this afternoon. We're from Ketkuti Kauki Advocates, a leading law firm in the iGaming sphere for the past 14 years, and more recently on the blockchain front as well. We're here this afternoon to have a quick talk about how blockchain is disrupting the gaming industry. So essentially, there's different aspects to the use of DLT within gaming. At the simplest level, there's the acceptance of cryptocurrencies as a means of payment within iGaming. The current hype clearly is on building gaming platforms on DLT technology platforms. The next level is how gaming operators are looking at introducing new technologies into the gaming. So virtual reality is one aspect, artificial intelligence is another. And our focus today is on how different countries are treating the combination of crypto and gaming. So looking at crypto as a currency or a means of payment within gaming, in most currencies, this is actually still a gray area. There's clearly a perception of crypto as being anonymous or facilitating anonymity, and also helping with or being used for money laundering and other illicit activities. Some countries do not allow the use of crypto within gaming, and the regulator would have come out and said so, as is currently the case in Malta, although we'll go into a bit more detail on how it can be done. Many countries have not legislated on the use of crypto within gaming. So does that mean that operators are fine until they're stopped by a regulator? It is, again, a gray area. So in those countries that have a very strong anti-gaming stance, you may expect the regulator to come down very heavily, very quickly. Others remain more, with a more lenient approach. Some countries specifically do not recognize crypto or have legislated it in any way. So it becomes very hard to apply the gaming law that mentions currency to crypto, which is itself not recognized as a currency. When we're looking at cryptocurrencies, there's the move away from banks and more of a P2P approach. So the problem, if you like, for regulators in the gaming sphere in a world without banks is that many high-quality gaming jurisdictions actually use banks as a key player in implementing their gaming regulation. So even if you have operators who are willing to bend the laws a little bit, the banks would not accept such activity. So that way, the bank is effectively an enforcer of the regulation. So in fact, that high risk level is one of the reasons why some gaming operators find it difficult to find banks willing to work with them. And again, if people are working on a P2P basis without banks, then the regulator loses a key tool in the enforcement of their gaming regulation. Back one slide. Thank you. So just looking at a quick glance around the world, there are some gaming jurisdictions that already do issue licenses for crypto casinos, essentially, or gaming operators with crypto, including Curacao, the UK, and the Isle of Man. These jurisdictions do accept the use of crypto, which means that the jurisdiction would have said, we're OK with the risk, we understand what's happening, and as long as the online casino meets the requirements and necessities of maintaining their license in that jurisdiction and play by the rules, then it's operating legally and can do so. Taking a quick look at some of the countries where it's not permitted, Macau's regulator earlier this year, for example, came out and said, definitely, we're not looking at crypto. It's not going to happen anytime soon within a gaming environment. In India, now India is not on the radar of gaming operators, mostly for the reason that India has a blanket ban on all forms of gaming, because it's seen as high risk. Now, interestingly, India said we could actually consider gaming if crypto is used as the means of payment, because through crypto we can track the funds, we can see where the money is coming from and where it's going, and that would give them a higher level of confidence. So there's, I think, an interesting and certainly a different take on what's happening there. Some other countries where it's permitted are Costa Rica and Curacao as on the other side of the Atlantic, the Isle of Man closer home, and there's the Malta Gaming Authority, where obviously Malta was the first jurisdiction in the EU to regulate online gaming 14 years ago. And we're now looking at how it can accept crypto gaming in principle.
In fact, Malta did not jump the gun, did not say, yes, you can go ahead and start using DLTs and cryptocurrencies in your gambling activities. Malta decided to take a cautious approach. However, the new law, which was enacted in August in 2018, it actually lays down the foundation and, in principle, allows the use of DLTs and cryptocurrencies in gaming. However, it is therefore future-proof, but it does not mean automatically that Maltese licensees today can immediately start accepting cryptos as part of their payment methods. Currently, the use of DLTs and cryptocurrencies is therefore not allowed. However, there was the issuance of a sandbox guidance note, which will allow the use of cryptocurrencies and DLTs for gaming operators in Malta in a controlled environment, a testing environment, so that Malta can then see the results and lay down the rules as to how every operator in Malta thereafter will be able to use cryptos and DLTs.
Just looking at how the current fintech regulations in Malta apply to gaming, it's important to point out that in-game currencies or in-game tokens would fall entirely outside of the scope of the new laws, as long as they're not built on DLT technology. On the other hand, anything that would be seen as a virtual token built on a DLT platform and exchangeable on wider exchanges would then be seen as a virtual financial asset that would then fall within the remit of the new legislation. DLT assets would need to be categorized under Maltese law. So in using the sandbox regime, operators would need to apply to the MGA for the correct classification of that asset. This is done through what's called the financial instrument test to ensure that the token is not a financial instrument that's been tokenized. Then if the DLT asset is classified as a VFA, it would need to go through the regulatory process with the Malta Financial Services Authority for the license requirements coming out from the VFA Act. And the operator could then take those virtual tokens to the MGA, the Gaming Authority of Malta, to assess whether those tokens may be used within the game.
This presentation is about how DLTs and cryptocurrencies are disrupting the gaming industry. I'm sure you have heard a lot on how this disruption is happening from an IT point of view, from a technological point of view. What we want to do in the last 5 minutes we have is to go through the disruption that is happening from a legal point of view. We need to keep in mind that DLTs and cryptocurrencies are plugging into an existing framework, a gaming law that has been in Malta existing for 14 years, together with the whole spectrum of laws, including EU directives such as GDPR and the AML directives. So we are already seeing that there are points that might be incompatible or require more detailed analysis. The first one is the fact that the gaming law requires that the player is identified, while on the other hand, we are seeing an increase into what we call anonymous cryptos. How this links, how does it happen? The guidance note issued by the MGA on the sandbox environment tries to deal with this in the sense that it provides for a number of requirements to make sure that the player is identified, his wallet is identified, and we know exactly where the cryptos are coming. So indeed, the wallet must have an address. The wallet itself, the address of the wallet, is now part of the identity of the player with the operator. It must be part of his records with the operator. There's the need of having separate wallets for each crypto, and wallets may be such that the private key is held by the player. To me, I think these requirements possibly are excluding the use of anonymous cryptos within the sandbox environment. Will it be the case after the sandbox has finished that the Malta Gaming Authority will then confirm that anonymous cryptos cannot be used on Maltese operators? We'll have to wait and see. Verification is undertaken in various ways. There must be a first deposit. The player must inform the operator that he's going to do a deposit, and then on the operator receiving that deposit, the player is verified. That is the first method. The second method is requiring the player to cryptographically sign the wallet with the private key, where possible. It seems that the first method especially is quite cumbersome. It seems to be and rather manual verification. Payments must be done and returned in the same unit. So if I pay in Bitcoin, I receive Bitcoin back. And payments must also be returned in the same wallet. Players will not be prohibited from having different wallets with the same operator, but if they paid from wallet to A, they will receive back in wallet A. The sandbox is there for making sure that the gaming operator is not acting as a crypto exchange, because a crypto exchange requires a license under the new Virtual Financial Assets Act and regulations.
A quick word on the volatility of cryptos versus obviously the financial stability that Malta government wishes to ensure in any environment. A key concern is that different operators may enforce different exchange rates, if you like, of the different cryptos coming onto their platform. So the gaming authority will select a VFA exchange and use those effective prices. And with regards to virtual tokens, the exchange rate will be that the operator accepts on their own platform or as determined by the NGA.
Let's have a very quick look at the DLT and crypto world and GDPR. There are a number of rules under GDPR, primarily, and the most important one is the right to be forgotten, introduced this May in the new regulation. Whilst on the other hand, we have DLTs, distributed ledger technologies, that are based on a decentralized and immutable system. How do these compare to each other? The fact that the DLT itself is immutable means that the right to be forgotten cannot be fulfilled. Here, the sandbox, the guidance note on the sandbox does not go into this. So it is already and still a big question mark as to how DLTs and GDPR can go along together. There have been some ideas being discussed. We can use a private blockchain where there are fewer participants, permissioned, implying compliance, but even though it is private, you still have the immutability issue. We have other ideas that are being discussed where they are suggesting that we should store personal data of the blockchain, but to me, this seems not to be a solution because you're actually getting out of the system, not finding a solution within the system. There is also the idea of storing only the hashes and validation of the data on a proprietary private permission-based blockchain. It increases privacy, but possibly does not fulfill the requirement of deletion, the right to be forgotten, under GDPR. One would question the fact that I, as the user, accept to use the blockchain. Am I consenting to give away my right to be forgotten? Is it an absolute right? We have to discuss this and see where it will take us. So is DLT incompatible with GDPR? Or is GDPR incompatible with DLT? Should GDPR be changed in view of DLTs? These are all discussions that require full presentation in themselves.
Just a quick word on smart contracts versus the protection of players. Within the sandbox, smart contracts are permitted. However, they do need to ensure that the wallet within the smart contract has been verified as part of the player's identity, and also that there are measures in place for player protection. For example, the smart contract would also need to have the ability to be revoked or neutered in the event that a flaw is discovered in its code. So there are some quick points that need to be measured by operators in the sandbox environment over and above the existing obligations. So customers do need to be duly ID'd, including their wallet. Customer details need to be validated within 30 days of the first deposit. The threshold for triggering CDD obligations is a lot lower, at only 150 euros versus 2,000 in fiat currency, and a maximum deposit to a gaming platform in crypto of equivalent to 1,000 euros per month.
We just skimmed through these main points. Each one of them possibly requires a full presentation. At first glance, these requirements provided for in the MGA sandbox seem to be quite cumbersome. We are trying to regulate something that possibly was started off as a means of not being regulated. However, 14 years ago, Malta started to regulate gaming. I'm sure at the time, many would have said, why is Malta regulating something that should not be regulated? It seems that with DLT and cryptocurrencies used in gaming, Malta is taking the same approach. Regulating gaming 14 years ago led us to the success today. We are hopeful that with DLT and use of cryptocurrencies in gaming, the cautious approach of the MGA will also lead us to another success. Thank you very much.
Launch your ICO in 5 days. What makes an ICO successful? How can you integrate and launch your project in 1 week? Viktor Petrov, TokenGet.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having me. Today, I'm going to talk about how to launch an ICO or STO in 5 days, and what does it take to launch a successful project. Few words about me. Me and my team managed to transfer 1.7 million worth of Ethereum, and we paid 30 USD for a transaction fee. So once you've seen that, I think paying transaction fees would just disappear. I've got a love-hate relationship with advertising as a revenue model. And 3 weeks ago at the Malta Blockchain Summit, I spoke with a lot of investors, and everybody was saying that this is the right time to invest in blockchain projects. First, because it's cheap and the hype is gone. But nothing happens overnight. A lot of investors are expecting from companies to deliver within few months. I was reading about a big gaming company here. They were celebrating their 20th anniversary, and they went through a lot of ups and downs. But they're now here with us and are pretty successful. How we managed to launch ICOs in 5 days? Well, it took us 1 year of hard work to manage to launch an ICO or STO in 5 days. We managed to launch 54 projects, and we managed to launch so many projects because we were very focused on having the best customer support out there, and we were listening to a lot to our customers and users and improving the platform all the time. Few of our notable customers, of course, BlockChip, amazing guys. If you haven't met those guys, they're over here. Better Betting, Adrian Brink, and Blue Ocean Swiss, which is one of the hottest STO projects this year. Let me give a few examples from our projects and what made them successful. Pharma Trust, a project that launched with us in January 2018. They launched in the last week of January, and in mid-February, they said they would postpone their ICO. We've spoke with them, and they decided to continue their ICO. 8 months later, those are the results. They've raised 20.3 million. They've got 1.5K contributors, and average investment per user was 13,000. Another customer, Omnitude, we totally underestimated those guys, but they didn't have private investors, big private investors, but they focused a lot on having the best Telegram group out there. And they had a lot of contributors, 5,000 contributors, and they've managed to raise 13 million. Bank of Road, interesting case. Those guys have been preparing for their ICO for a year, and they've closed their ICO in 34 minutes after they've launched. They sold out all their tokens super fast, and they were focused only on the South Korean market. So I'm going to give you a few steps how to launch a successful ICO or STO. And I would focus, for the heck of the example, I would focus on ICO. The first thing is, do not focus too much on regulations, right? I mean, like, lawyers would agree with me that you lawyers are better off when they have successful and big customers rather than startups that are paying just once. Do not ditch the project midway. I mean, like, if you continue working on your project, you're better off than 80% out there on the market. Things that you should do: generate revenue, if you can, of course, acquire users, do airdrop, do bounty, get users, and very important, find utility case of the product that you're building. Step number 1, find ICO-friendly jurisdiction. Malta, Gibraltar, Estonia, Singapore, there are a lot of them already. Important step, the domain. So once you go for the name, you just get .com domain. That would be your domain to launch the project, and .io, for example, for your ICO domain. If anything happens with your ICO domain, you can still continue launching your project. Dashboard.yourproject.io would be the place where you'd bring investors, where they'll be investing, doing KYC, bounty, airdrop, and etc. So you would start doing the private sale. You would build your landing page, complete, if you can, the white paper, connect your website with the platform, and use the private seed proceeds to do a roadshow and find more investors. So if you want to be a utility token, very important thing, you do not unlock tokens before you've got your platform or product ready. So build the platform, do an airdrop campaign. Do an airdrop campaign, very important, do not unlock tokens. So let's say you've got 5,000 users from your airdrop campaign. You pick 50 of those to be your early adopters of the platform. You unlock the tokens to those guys and let them be using your platform and find utility there. Once you've done that, you're ready to do public sale. Once you do the public sale and you've raised the amount that you need to raise, you slowly start unlocking tokens. And of course, you have to be very careful with that, because if you unlock tokens before your platform is live, you might be a security token. And another important thing, do not rush to get on exchanges. I mean, like, if you have a product that is not ready and not used by enough users, if you launch on an exchange, of course, your price would tank immediately. Of course, ICO projects and gaming, a lot of people are missing the point that with a good ICO, you can get a lot of users. And I know the gaming industry is having issue with acquisition of users. So an ICO or STO could be a great way to acquire users. Funding non-US companies. A lot of European companies have great products, but they don't have the funds to launch those projects. So ICO or STO would be an amazing opportunity to get the funds and start building the product. And of course, bring blockchain out of the shadows. I spoke with a lot of companies here today, and not all of them are into blockchain. And I think the companies that are not into blockchain are missing the opportunity to become the leaders of tomorrow. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Investing in blockchain. A distinguished panel of industry experts analyze the pros and cons that go hand in hand with investing in blockchain. The panel will investigate a plethora of perspectives, from investors interested in high ROI to techies who truly believe in blockchain's revolutionary potential, and everyone in between. Justine Sherry Herrera, Michael Cipriano and Company, Mark Thomas, Zen Sports, Mark Suan, BlockChip. Moderated by Christina Shikluna, Marmo TCV.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you to the audience for being here. Thank you also to my speakers And I'll just give you 5 minutes just to introduce yourself, just a background of where you're from, what you do, and then we can kick off our discussion. So, Justine, go ahead.
Thanks for coming, even though it's the end of the day. My name is Justine Cherry Herrera. I'm a lawyer, currently advising in the VFA department with a background in the financial services and the investment services.
Mark Thomas, co-founder and CEO of Zen Sports. We are a fully decentralized peer-to-peer sports betting platform that does not require any form of bookmaker at all. And we're currently doing a cryptocurrency token sale starting this Saturday, pre-selling our own cryptocurrency token and integrating that and blockchain technology to continue to decentralize the sports betting process.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mark Siwan. I am the CEO of BlockChip. We are a decentralized iGaming platform working with casino games, existing games, and also ability to build games upon our platform as well.
Great, thanks. Thanks for that introduction, everyone. So I'll just start off by kicking off the discussion by looking at whether we do need a blockchain application in our gaming platform. So perhaps I'll just throw this question out there and ask, what features would one need to look at to ensure that they do need a blockchain application in the gaming platform? Is it always essential? And what added advantages does it give to your gaming platform once you've launched the blockchain application? Mark, perhaps you'd like to start off and then we'll go around.
I know there's two Marks here.
Yeah,
is it me? Yeah.
yeah.
Of course. I mean, when we first started out looking at BlockChip as a project and as a platform, we looked at coming from the gaming industry over 15 years, we looked at the problems that we wanted to solve. With gambling, there's always, I guess, a stigma of trust and security, not always with the games, but actually with the casino themselves. So we wanted to address security, transparency for players and for casinos. And blockchain was a solution for us, because with that, it brings all of the great things that utilizing the technology brings. But again, it is, blockchain for us is a database. It is there to store data. And yet, we still have to be able to build our business as usual as well on top of that. But for us, it was the logical move.
So essentially, it was mostly for the trust purposes and security behind it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mark, would you have anything else to add?
Right. So, of course, trust and transparency are always the two things that are sold when blockchain is talked about, and I 100% agree with that. To expand upon that, what those two things allow you to do is eliminate middlemen. They allow you to eliminate the need for a untrusted, non-transparent third party that is normally a part of the process to no longer have to be a part of the process. And of course, that reduces fees, it improves efficiency, reduces time, and just, again, makes it a much more trustworthy process. So, I would say the last thing is that it puts the user and the customer back in control, which I think is a big component to why people get frustrated with third parties in the first place, is they always feel there's this kind of nebulous, ambiguous third party that has some kind of hold over everything that makes it very frustrating to deal with.
Okay, thanks. Justine, do you have anything else to add?
I think blockchain has become a slight marketing hype and a good marketing tool. However, I think that businesses wanting to incorporate blockchain in their setup have to look at the underlying characteristics that blockchain have to offer and see if it can suit their business needs. Because sometimes people want to incorporate blockchain as a marketing tool, but all it does is it makes things less efficient and more costly. I think that, going to your second question, the blockchain and cryptocurrencies industry does complement the gaming industry for a number of reasons. I'll just highlight a few. One is payments. There is a big issue with banking and gaming. So as you correctly mentioned, it gets rid of the middlemen and cuts costs. So if I'm paying and accepting cryptocurrencies on gaming platforms, I'll cut credit cards, fees, no banks. Another use would be fraud. So gaming companies, like other industries like banking, are susceptible to hacking. When it comes to a blockchain, since, as many of you know, blockchain is a decentralized system, when one wants to hack a central system, they can hack the system and gain a lot of information at one go. If one wants to hack a blockchain, since each block is encrypted by cryptography in a separate manner, you'll need to hack each block independently in order to gain what information you want. You cannot just hack a blockchain and hack the system at one go. Another feature, I would say, of how it complements gaming nicely is in terms of ownership. So when it comes to gaming, there's a lot of virtual assets involved. You can tokenize these virtual assets. It will be the player who will own this virtual asset and not the developer. So the value of ownership is a big element for the player. You can also and then trade these virtual tokens, these virtual assets on platforms, and you can use them to purchase other tokens and other games. So if you're bored of a game, you can just go on an exchange and exchange this token for another token. And lastly, in terms of software tools, so let's say, for example, you have a lottery gaming company. Since the blockchain provides transparent, open features, let's say if you want to know exactly how many gaming tickets were bought, this provides fairness to the users and to the players in gaming within the game itself. Mm-hmm. So those are just a few of the positive elements blockchain and crypto can bring to the table.
Okay, really great. Thanks for that. So let's look now at the investing in blockchain, because that's essentially what the panel is all about, right? So my next question would be, when you're looking at fundraising for startups, we've seen a lot of ICOs take off in the past few years. Now recently we're moving now towards the STOs. I mean, it's funny to see the transition from the ICO framework, where a lot of industry players didn't want to be regulated, whereas now we're looking at everyone wanting to issue securitized tokens, and they're happy to be regulated even on the SEC. So my next question would be, when we're looking at fundraising both from ICO versus STO, what are the added advantages of having that as opposed to the traditional venture capital fundraising, if any at all? And how do you ensure that you're adding value to those tokens? Mark Thomas, I know you, Zensport, are in the process of launching their token sale. Perhaps you can give us a bit of insight as to why you decided to go down the route of STO as opposed to the venture capital.
So with traditional venture capital, especially if you're looking to raise, say, $3 million or more, you almost always have to have quite a bit of traction to be able to raise money from traditional VCs. You have to have that up into the right graph in your presentation deck. You have to show meaningful month-over-month growth, or they're just not going to talk to you. You're just going to be flat out too early. Whereas one of the beauties of token sales is you actually get to sell to the crowd. So the customer, your future customers, partners, et cetera, can all get in on it. And a lot of times for them, the proof points required for them to invest are a lot lower. So if you're a newer startup, a newer technology company, you can generally raise a larger amount of money much earlier on by doing a token sale than you would be able to do with traditional venture capital. And in terms of STO versus ICO, so it's probably pretty well known that the SEC in the United States is really cracking down on token offerings in the US that are being sold to US investors. And they even just reclassified 2 recent utility ICO token offerings as security tokens and forced those companies to refund all of their investors that they took money from. So for example, we're doing our token sales in STO because we want to play by the rules and make sure that we're not running afoul of any regulatory issues.
Great, thanks. Mark, I don't know if you want to add anything, because I know also BlockChip has launched their own STO, so perhaps you can give us a bit of insight on that.
Sure. So just in regarding to any new companies wishing to get into the blockchain space, the first question I would ask myself is, does my company really need a blockchain solution? Mm-hmm. Companies need to focus on the business, and sometimes blockchain might not be the best solution. A centralized database might be the better solution. Yeah. Also, with the ever-changing landscape of crypto and even blockchain in Malta. I mean, as I was here 2 weeks ago, as you guys know, MFSA are changing the rewriting the laws all the time. So I would say focus on the business. Investors right now, they are changing their outlook. It's not 2017 anymore. We know that. The, investors aren't just going to invest in your company based on the idea anymore. Investors who invest in businesses today, which is still a big appetite for, they're looking for when the companies can start generating revenue. Okay, so they're going to invest £100 or £500,000, £2 million. So I say pounds, I'm from Britain. But it's all in US dollars. But again, what are they going to get for that money? When are you going to start generating revenue? That is what's important to investors today. And also, another thing is, investors I find that I speak to right now, they have no idea what blockchain is. Yeah. No idea. Investors are coming from property, they're coming from finance, they're coming from all other industries, and they're really interested in knowing what blockchain is, but they have no idea. So it's down to you as a business to have a good business plan, financial forecast, financial milestones, ensure you have a strong management team, which is very important because that's what they look at first and foremost, the team behind the project, and then they look at the project. Yeah. So it doesn't matter if you're doing ICO or STO, it's focused on the business first.
As long as your investors are getting value, right? So
exactly.
With the STO, when the STOs come into place, a lot of the people who are launching STOs speak of granting equity to investors. I think that is it's a good transition from the ICOs where essentially the investors are getting redemption of a service of a platform. So I think it's a good transition. Justin, I don't know if you had any thoughts on this.
Just maybe highlight how important the white paper is. Since before, the only way you could raise capital is private equity or launching your IPO. Nowadays, all you need is a white paper just to launch an ICO or an STO. So it's very important that you launch your white paper in a regulated jurisdiction.
I think what's also important to notice is that when we're speaking of ICOs and STOs, it's crucial to understand which jurisdiction you're launching, right? Because you've got different definitions applying to, which are being applied by different regulators. So in Malta, when we speak of an STO, it's not typically a financial instrument. So you have to look into the actual features of the token and understand what rights you're granting to your token.
Even because different applicable laws and exchanges. I cannot register my security token on a virtual financial assets exchange. So it's this complete segregation from when you launch it to where you launch it to where it's exchanged.
So just touching upon also the regulation, I mean, in Malta we've recently seen, 1st November, we had the regulatory framework which was launched regulating both virtual financial assets and also recognition and certification for blockchain arrangements. How do you view the fact that now the regulation is catching up with technology? Is that beneficial for investors who are investing in blockchain technologies, or is it something which is deterring investors? Mark, I'm seeing you nod over there. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, I think it really, I don't know. On one hand, it feels like, especially government regulators, they want to embrace it, but they also have this just inherent fear of what it means to, for example, challenge their own fiat currencies or to circumvent, make it easier to circumvent regulations. For example, I mean, if you're building a decentralized blockchain, crypto-enabled, gaming platform, does that mean you need to be regulated in the same way if all of the rules and covenants and contracts are on the blockchain versus other traditional means? So, I think there's on one hand a desire to embrace the technology, and on the other hand, there's this fear as well as to, will this allow people to circumvent the traditional means of regulation and whatnot? And then that, of course, also varies by governments. Some governments are much more receptive to it, and others are like, no.
Yeah, true. I don't know if anyone else has anything to add. We have just a few more minutes left. I'd like to touch upon the subject of how smart contracts tie into the blockchain and how important is it to have a smart contract in place with the blockchain application. Mark, I don't know whether you have any thoughts on that.
No, absolutely. I think smart contracts for us is a really good thing. Basically, it helps to mitigate any kind of trust issues. So within our platform, it enables developers and other developers to work together and share revenue without any requirements for any legal processes or even trusting each other. All transactions that will be done through our games will be done through smart contracts. So for us already there, it gives, again, enforces the blockchain technology and the whole reason why we are utilizing it in our platform.
Yeah. Justine, anything else you'd like to add on this point of smart contracts being inbuilt with blockchain?
Well, I would think that they are beneficial. They are effectively, they have the same rules as a contract, so it's the two parties agree on the terms to be included in the contract, and then these are digitally stored. Maybe one of the, not faults, but disadvantages of smart contracts are, as we had mentioned, that they cannot be changed. So that could be beneficial at times, but could also maybe hinder certain transactions.
Let me say one thing. I actually think smart contracts is the thing that users probably fear the most or the most apprehensive about, because all of a sudden it's taking this possibly very complex, possibly very high amount of money and putting it into a smart contract that one can't necessarily see on the blockchain. The blockchain itself is probably not so scary because it's a distributed ledger that's transparent and verifiable. But the idea of I send somebody money and XYZ is going to happen and handled by, again, this smart contract that's very theoretical to them, I think that's actually one of the scariest things for users and is probably one of the things that's going to take the most time for people to wrap their heads around and be willing to adopt.
I think, I echo what Mark says, but I think for us as a casino platform, users won't even know what's going on. They won't. They'll come onto our platform and they'll play the games, and it'll be the same amazing experience that they've had with any other centralized casino room, but with the added knowledge that their transactions are secure and transparent on the blockchain. All the technical goings on in behind, they won't know about it. They won't see it. I mean, most won't even know about it. I doubt anyone would even look it up to find out how their finance is being move from point A to point B. I mean, they'll go in there, they want to gamble, have a great time, gamble with Bitcoin Cash SV, whatever they want to do. Hopefully that's going to be the case anyways.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, our last minute, just one last question I think I'd like to throw out there is, what advice would you have to startups who are getting involved in the blockchain space, besides the points we've mentioned of, do you really need to have a blockchain in your project? And making sure that your investors are actually getting some added value from your token. What advice would you throw out there to the startups?
Just real quickly, I think the reality is only 2% of the world is using crypto and blockchain right now, and I think it still comes down to education and patience. So incentivize your users to use, for example, your own token versus traditional fiat, or give them educational videos, seminars, AMAs, anything else that can help educate them on these concepts so that they don't feel it's this very scary beast in the middle of the room that they don't understand.
So knowledge and education, definitely.
I was going to say, if you want any liquidity in the market and if you want people to actually buy your tokens, they have to understand the technology and the underlying value or the benefit that they're getting from this token. Because if you want to fill the ecosystem, you need people to buy your tokens. What the man in the street doesn't really understand. Maybe us attending these conferences or mixing with certain type of people, we forget that the man in the street has no idea of the setup and how complicated or not complicated things actually are.
Great, thanks. Mark, any words of wisdom from your end?
Absolutely. It's a jungle. It's ever-changing, and you have to be very adaptive. Any business owners I recommend find amazing lawyers. Malta is filled with them. Find a great partner to help manage your token sale. Make KYC AML. Don't skip it. Do it. Or it might cost you more now, but you'll sleep well in the future knowing that you're totally compliant with everything. There's lots of legal jargon. There's lots of tech as well going on. Just partner with someone who'll help you walk you through it. Talk to other guys who are doing ICOs. We've met amazing people in Malta, amazing guys who are in the same boat as us. Share ideas, find out what they're struggling with, and together, we are a community, we're an industry together, we're not alone. So talk to everyone, find out how they're doing it. Banking is a pain. Yeah. It's a pain in the ass, I would say that. Custodianship, wallets, everything. But you're not alone. Talk to everyone. Everyone's here to help. Honestly, it's difficult, but it's worth it if you persevere.
Great, great, thanks. Any questions from the audience before we close off? Great, thank you. Thank you all for being here, and have a nice evening.
Bye.